All right, everybody, good evening. My name is David Cartsonis, and I'm going to call the meeting of the City of Torrance Planning Commission to order. Staff, actually, before I do that, I'm going to call us the meeting of January 21st, 2026 to order at 6:30 p.m. Staff, would you please call for?
Yes. Commissioner Edmondson?
Here.
Commissioner Borgioli?
Present.
Commissioner Obehouse?
Here.
Commissioner Riggs?
Here.
Commissioner Turner?
Here.
Commissioner Ye?
Here.
Chair Cartsonis?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, and we have no excused absences. So that's going to take us on to agenda item number 2, which is the flag salute. Commissioner Obehouse, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Obehouse. Takes us to agenda item number 3, which is the report of the posting of the agenda. Staff, can we please have that?
Good evening, Chair. Yes, the agenda was posted at the public notice board at 3031 Torrance Boulevard and on the City of Torrance webpage on Thursday, January 15, 2026.
Thank you very much. And that takes us to agenda item number 4, which is the announcement of withdrawn, deferred, and/or supplemental items. And we have a couple supplemental items, but
That is correct, Chair. We have 2 supplemental items on both of them on item 8B. So supplemental 1 and supplemental 2 for that item.
Thank you very much. That's going to take us on to agenda item number 5, which is the oral communications section. This portion of the meeting is reserved for comment on items not listed on the agenda and is limited to a 15-minute period. Under the Ralph M. Brown Act, the Planning Commission cannot act on items raised during public comment, but may be responded briefly to statements made or questions posed. Request clarifications or refer the item to staff. Here's a new thing for those of you guys that are here often. Comments are limited to no longer than 2 minutes per speaker. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? This is for agenda items not on the agenda. Please come on forward. And actually, I should make one more correction while you make your way up here. I actually think it's limited to a 30-minute period now. Is the update.
That is correct.
Thank you.
This is a comment not on the item 8B, but I want to say that that general subject emphasizes the request I made to you some time ago that you exercise your power and your duty to hold public hearings with respect to zoning matters and advise on your own initiative the city council on these matters. That particular item, I think, raises a number of these issues which deserve your report.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we can move right on to agenda item number 6, which is the approval of minutes. And then we do have something here. Staff, could you please tell us about this?
Chair, yes, for item 6A, we have approval of the minutes for December 3rd, 2025.
Thoughts, concerns, questions?
I move to,
I see Commissioner Ye. Go ahead.
I move to approve the minutes from December 3rd, 2025.
Second. All right. Roll call.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Borgioli?
Yes.
Commissioner Obehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ye?
Yes.
Chair Cartsonis?
Yes.
Chair, that motion carries 7-0.
All right.
Did you guys check my microphone? I feel like it's very low.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
Hello? Hello?
Try it again.
Hello? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, then we can move on then to agenda item number 7. But before we do that, there are a few matters of general information that I need to explain. This meeting will be conducted in an informal manner. Formal rules of evidence, such as those used in a court of law, do not apply. Everyone with an interest in an item will be heard. Decisions will be based on the evidence presented, including the staff report, any pictures or drawings presented by staff, oral testimony heard tonight, and any written or graphic material presented during the meeting, and the personal observations of each commissioner. If you would like to speak on an item tonight, we ask that your remarks are pertinent to the project and do not include personal remarks. Repetition of evidence is neither necessary nor helpful. The meeting is being audio recorded, and the minute secretary will prepare minutes of the proceedings. When speaking on an item, please come forward to the podium, speak clearly. You may give your name and address, spelling your last name for the record, but you are not legally required to do so. You can also fill out a speaker card and deposit it in the box at the podium. Zone changes, general plan amendments, and variances are brought to the City Council for a decision. All other items are final with the Planning Commission unless appealed to the City Council. Appeals must be filed within 15 calendar days of the decision and are filed with the City Clerk's office and by paying the necessary fees. The items will be heard in the following manner. Staff will read the agenda item. The applicant will then be asked to address the Commission. Next, any interested party will be asked to speak on the item. Finally, the applicant will be invited to make a closing statement and respond to questions from the Commission. The Commission will then close the public hearing, discuss the matter publicly, and vote on their decision. Tonight we have staff members from the Community Development Department, Fire Department, and the City Attorney's Office. They are available to provide us with additional information. Staff, are there any items under administrative matters?
Chair Cartsonis, we do not have anything under the administrative matters.
All right, and that takes us to the main event, which are our public hearings. Agenda item number 8. We're going to start with agenda item 8A, which is a recommendation to consider approval of CUP 25-00022. Staff, would you please present this item?
Good evening, Commissioners. Item 8A is a recommendation of the Community Development Director that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing and consider adoption of resolution number 2026-1 for approval of CUP 25-22 to allow the operation of an arcade on property located in the general commercial zone at 17405 Crenshaw Boulevard, and determine a categorical exemption for the project in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, Article 19, Section 15301, existing facilities. The subject property is located within an existing shopping center on the southwest corner of Crenshaw and Artesia Boulevards, and the subject space is located at the focal northeast corner of the center, which was most recently occupied by Wells Fargo Bank. The applicant has worked with city staff since April 2025 in refining their design to obtain support from planning and building and safety staff, as the original plan showed large open areas without equipment or arcade game machines. The applicant described their use as including these open areas for social media photo zones to encourage customer-generated content, and will be marketing this use to influencers to promote the applicant's brand. Staff has provided conditions addressing promotional events that would trigger a higher occupancy, which would be reviewed by city staff via temporary parking lot event permit submitted at least 4 weeks ahead of the event. Staff has advised the applicant that the use will be monitored and will address any complaints, parking problems, and overflow into other properties, which would affect future approvals of these promo events. As conditioned, staff recommends approval of the project and is available for questions.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant present? Please come on forward and tell us about your project.
Hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Andrew Kuo, representing Everyday Walmart at 17405 Crenshaw Boulevard. And our project is an innovative retail entertainment model to Torrance, and our 3,500 square foot facility features 36 skill-based claw machines and offer high-quality practical items like snacks and household essentials. And I would like to highlight why our business is a positive addition to our community. Number one is skill-based, not gambling. Our machines are 100% skill-based. Success depends entirely on the player's hand-eye coordination and timing. This is a healthy amusement activity, not a game of chess. And number two, job creation. we are proud to create local employment opportunities. Our store will be staffed by up to 3 employees, providing stable jobs and professional training. Safety, and number 3, safety and minor supervision. We are a family-oriented venue. We require parents to supervise their children, and our staff members are trained to monitor everyone's status. If we notice anyone, especially teenagers, playing excessively, our staff will step in and to ensure a healthy experience. And number 4, strict staff protocols for safety. We have clear guidelines for our team. Our staff is trained to ensure that young children are accompanied by their parents or guide at all time. Furthermore, if our employees notice any customer showing signs of excessive play or addiction, they are instructed to approach them with care, offer assistance, and ensure they maintain a healthy balance. And number 5, no noise or litter. All activities stay inside our sound managed space. We strictly follow city rules. No outdoor signs, no outdoor seating, and we will perform daily sidewalk cleaning to keep Torrance beautiful. By blending fun with practical shopping, everyday Colomar will be a safe, clean, and a successful part of the Torrance community. Thank you, and happy to. Okay, next.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Riggs, I see you buzzed in. Do you mind if we go to public comment first? Or not?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you guys not to go too far. You can have a seat right up front here. I'm going to open it up for public comment, and then we'll have you come back up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public who are here and wish to speak about agenda item 8A? All right, seeing none, sorry. I made you guys sit down. You can get back up. There's no one here for you. We do have a couple questions from the commission. Commissioner Riggs.
It's just a question. We've had a couple of these businesses come forward to it. And I'm just, talking about a claw game, I just remember the old claw that goes down and picks up and moves around and stuff. So, but it sounds like this is more than that or something. I have no idea what a claw game is. Just what is it? Oh, is that it?
Oh yeah, it's like the way you think, but the special for us is like we don't close like just toys or something for children. We close like snacks and grocery. Like you can get a Coca-Cola in the machine. That's fun. And the way we play the claw machine is like you shake the claw and use your skill to let the prize close to the hole, and then you can practice a lot. Like because it's common in our country, in Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
It's very common. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just,
Yeah.
I wish your business all success and everything. It's a big location and everything.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at that game. So I never get the claw to get it. I've never won once, but I just had it sounded like it was something different than that, but it's actually okay. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I think Commissioner Riggs, you're their prime customer.
like going to Vegas and
Perfect.
It's less expensive than Vegas.
I do have just a few quick questions, mostly for staff. But first I need to disclose I did visit the location. Any decision I make is going to be based on the evidence presented as well as my own personal observations. Staff, I did notice, or I don't see any condition. I see in the narrative that the hours are 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., but I don't see a condition for the hours. It doesn't seem like the sort of thing that we would be concerned about putting hours on it, but I just want to make sure.
Yes, Commissioner, correct. There is no condition for it. We don't anticipate anything outside of the ordinary. It's a retail center. If you like, you can add one with the approval of the rest of the commission.
Okay, thank you. The other question I had was actually for the applicants, and it's just to confirm that you are familiar with condition number 14 in the agenda, which is that any promotional events that require a high occupancy requires you to submit and coordinate with planning staff up to, I guess, not up to, but 4 weeks ahead of the event to determine whether a temporary parking lot event permit would be required. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Commissioner Borgelli.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, buddy. I'm over here. Couple things come to my mind. First of all, I'm assuming that tokens are purchased at the site to operate the machine. Can you explain that process to me, please?
There's a machine to exchange the token, and one token you can exchange by yourself for the token, $1 per token. And the other way to get a token, you can go to the counter, and the staff will help you.
Is it cash, or is it credit card, or is it both?
You mean to
buy a token?
Yeah, both.
Both. Okay. So when you look at these businesses and how they operate, would you say that a majority of the people who buy the tokens use cash or credit card?
Majority would be credit card.
Credit card, okay. The reason why I ask these questions is I'm familiar with certain business models that have substantial cash on hand.
On hand.
On hand. And when substantial cash is on hand, a lot of people, onlookers, see that cash and they start making plans in their head for that cash to become their cash. So if you have cash on hand, such as in machines, my question is, how will you manage the drop of that cash to the banks? Will you do it yourself? Will you use armored car service? I noticed that your business plan has X number of dollars per day that you expect.
Commissioner Borgelli, Paul, can I interrupt you for 1 minute?
Yes, sir.
Let's hear from our city attorney.
We're just getting a little far afield of planning conditions. Their security things would be dealt with by the police if they had any recommendations, but this is kind of getting far afield of what we're looking at under the Torrance Municipal Code.
I'm not pleased with that answer. I'm trying to understand safety for the applicant here. And this cash thing is very serious.
But that's not the role of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission looks at building standards and design standards.
You have my time back.
All right. Commissioner Yang.
I'm here to disclose, I grew up over there when I was young, so my parents are still there. But my question is, I know the retailers around there very well, and this one closed at 11. It brings me some concerns because there's nobody else opens in that hour. So I was wondering, staff, can you elaborate on that? Because this one is right next to residential, compared to other ones, they have distance from the residential area.
Staff did not have any initial concerns with that. 11 o'clock is a normal business hour to close. You may want to ask the question of the applicant, is that a normal hour for their businesses in the past and their other businesses that they've had?
No, I'm trying to ask you, not the applicant, because of noise, because they are so close to the residential, right?
Correct.
And not like the cross the street Smart Final, or not like a Pro Local, they close at 9 o'clock. And if this one, across on Artesia Boulevard, there's a Pro Local, and there's a gas station, but they are very far from the residential, and they usually close early. None of the business over there close at 11. So I'm just wondering, the crowd they bring in, and what do we do to control it?
So we do have a condition of approval that they maintain their doors closed at all times during business hours so that noise doesn't emanate from the building. Our environmental division has also asked for a noise review prior to their building permit issuance. So we're going through the normal channels of mitigating noise. Beyond that, I don't have anything further.
And also about parking space. I know this is a retail center. How much parking are they reserved for this spot?
Their parking requirement is 14 parking spaces
For this store?
for this use, yes. And they have 40 in the center.
Right.
They're required to have 34 across the board for the other uses, including this business. So they are overparked. They have a surplus.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, now. All right, that's it. Thanks.
Commissioner Bejas.
No concerns, just a question for staff. So if I understand it, a conditional use permit stays with the business. So if another bank had opened there, we wouldn't be issuing a new conditional use permit. Is that a fair assumption?
That's correct.
Okay, good. So how are we classifying this club business? Is it entertainment? Is it retail?
It's under the retail service parking rate, but that has nothing to do with what you're asking, I'm sure. It's considered entertainment, indoor entertainment.
Okay. All right. Thank you
And
very much.
requires a CUP for a certain number of machines that they will have.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Riggs.
I'm a little bit concerned also with Commissioner Ye's question is because I know we have certain setbacks. Do we have anything on the setback from distance to where the resident is? Is there? I'm not really familiar. I did not drive by there. So, Mr. Garcia, would that be, I'm sorry.
To clarify one thing, it's not a new development. It's just a conditional use permit for development. So the distance is the same as it was for the previous tenants. If that makes sense.
But if, yes and no, but if we're
I understand your question.
entertainment in there,
If I would have to approximate it, it would be about 60 feet from the property line of the residential properties. And the location of the site is located as far east as the building is. So it is as close to Crenshaw as it can be.
and that would be standard distances for that. If I guess, can I ask the applicant?
Yeah.
So if you're having different people coming in and renting, would they be renting it for a night or something like that? And that would be something that, having parties there? Is that what you would do? No. So it'd just be purely for your business only to come in and use the claw machines. You won't be renting it out and subleasing it. I'm done, thank you.
All right, thank you. So I'll actually direct the question. So I'd asked about hours. In your write-up here, you're asking for 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., correct? And you would you have any objection to us making that a condition of the approval, that you wouldn't be able to operate outside of those hours?
So we are just keeping that hours from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Commissioner Yang.
Thank you. Question for staff. If they want to host party inside, are they allowed to do so?
We did add a condition of approval that if their events exceed a normal operating business for an arcade, that they would have to apply for a temporary parking lot event permit. So we're going to have to monitor to see when they have their promotional events, what type of occupancy they're going to have, if they have an invitation number that they're going to provide the city, so we can know ahead of time if they're going to have a large amount of people show up at one time.
Actually, that's not my question. I'm just talking about birthday parties. Are they allowed to host a birthday party? They're not renting out a space because we have a claw machine on 182nd and Western, and they do host parties inside. I was wondering if they want to do that, can they do that?
The applicant did not mention that in their scope of work, so it was not analyzed as that.
So if they did, what do they need to get approval?
I think we would need to know what the size, scope of those parties would be, if they're private events, in which case they would be closed to the public for that day, and just to have an idea of how many folks are going to show up for that, to make sure that parking is not impacted.
And what's the capacity that people can go in there at one time for this space?
I would have to defer that to our building and safety staff.
Okay.
The Torrance Building and Safety. They actually have on their cover sheet the occupant load calculations depending on the square footage of the space. They also have a fixture calculation there for determining the minimum number of plumbing fixtures depending on the number of occupants.
So you're saying, according to the calculation, there can be 100% in there at one time, right?
That is correct, yeah.
Well, 100%, if 50 people drove there, how does that work? If the place is fully capacity, do they have to file for it? Because there's not enough parking space, right?
I imagine that not everyone or even half would drive, if these are designed for younger folks that may arrive there on their scooter, bicycles, or walk, bus, what have you. They may be dropped off by parents or guardians. I don't imagine that it would be a parking issue on a normal basis.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Commissioner Riggs.
So, I don't want to beat this up, but our concerns has to be the residents of noise. And so I know some businesses that where I live has went in and had something like this, and they've had, some extra. I'm seeing somebody walk up to the, go ahead.
No, finish.
Okay.
I don't want to assume what you're going to say.
That has had extracurricular activity or whatever within the business, bringing in music or whatever. And so my concern is the residents there. That so we do have a code enforcement and all that drives around and does that. So I just wanted to make it clear, as when we're leaving here, for the residents that are in back there, it's all about the noise factor and stuff. If there is this done, to please, so that we would know. That's the only way we have it to enforce it, is to know that it's going on, to go out and look at it for our residents. That's the only thing I wanted to convey to you guys. Thank you for bringing your business to the city of Torrance.
Chair, Commissioners, Michelle Ramirez, Community Development Director. I understand noise, parking, these are concerns that this commission may have, but it is, as Yolanda, as the planning associate planner has stated, Ms. Gomez has stated, that there are conditions in place that are there to protect the residents as well as the community for parking condition and noise. And we do have such things as code enforcement. Code enforcement does work until 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. So if this was to happen after that hours between 9 and 11, I actually can make arrangements for code enforcement to stay longer, to do special arrangements to go out there and determine if there is additional noise or something taking place, that we would then need to contact the applicants to have them come back in to discuss their conditions of approval and potentially even give them a notice of citation if they weren't following the conditions or anything that's in the Torrance Municipal Code.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, with that, I don't see any more questions or comments from up here. So I'm going to open it up to you guys. Do you have a final comment you want to make before we close the public hearing? All right, thank you all very much. You can have a seat. Commissioner Torrance.
I move to close the public hearing.
I second. Roll call.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Borgelli?
Yes.
Commissioner Bejas?
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ye?
Yes.
Chair Clerk Thomas?
Yes.
Chair, the motion carries 7-0.
All right, we talked about this one significantly longer than I expected us to. I will start us off in our discussion, I guess. I tend to agree with Community Development Director Ramirez in that there are a lot of conditions here that I think address any of the concerns that I had, noise attenuation, condition number 15, condition number 14 about having too high of occupancy, condition 11, which is in regards to the entry doors being closed during business hours, which is addressing the noise complaints. So I am not concerned about that component at all. I think the only thing I would like to see is something in regards to the hours. I know they had in the narrative that they were looking for an 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. And staff has no objections to that, it sounds like, and the applicant has no objections to that, so I would love to see that as a condition that we add. Other than that, this is fantastic. Any other thoughts, comments? Shaking heads. Commissioner Reyes.
I guess I want a clarification on what hours restrictions you're asking for. You're asking them to stop at 11 p.m.?
That's, so traditionally in staff, you can let me know, I think when we set hours, that's hours for the public. They can still be, cleaning up and restocking and stuff after 11 p.m.
That's correct.
I think we're making a problem before it's a problem.
Well, and I think it's a fair argument. I guess it's a question I can direct to staff then, is if there were complaints that there were people there until midnight, how do we address that?
Well, we could address that in coming back to the commission or requiring a change to the conditions of approval to change the hours of operation or provide other remedies. We did not have any comments from the neighbors up until this moment, and no one showed up for the hearing, so I don't believe that there is a concern. The space is about 60 feet away from residential. There's a parking field in between the space and the residence. There are on Artesia and Crenshaw, which is already a noisy intersection, so I don't imagine that noise emanating from the space would go that far.
All right, thank you.
I would not be in favor of adding a condition at this point in time. It's just, I don't see evidence that it's a problem.
Sure. All right, thank you. I don't see any more comments, so Commissioner Durham.
I move to, I'm on the wrong page.
Want me to do it for you?
Sure.
I move that we approve conditional use permit 25-22.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioners, before we do, can we get clarification on the second?
It was Commissioner Turner.
Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Borgiali,
Yes.
Commissioner Ovejas,
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Rier,
Yes.
Chair Cartones.
Yes. Yes.
Chair motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. We have a resolution here. Commissioner Reyes.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2026-1.
A second.
Roll call.
I think I need to read the resolution
Oh,
first.
you do, please. I apologize. Yes.
Sorry.
Can we hear number and title on that resolution?
Planning Commission Resolution Number 2026-1, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Torrance, California, approving a conditional use permit as provided for in Division 9, Chapter 5, Article 1 of the Torrance Municipal Code to allow the operation of an arcade on property located in the General Commercial C2 Zone at 17405 Crenshaw Boulevard. Topway Archie Design Construction Incorporated, Grade T101 LLC.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Borgiali,
Yes.
Commissioner Ovejas,
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Rier,
Yes.
Chair Cartones.
Yes.
Chair motion carries 7-0.
All right, and thank you for catching that. I didn't want to stop you from being able to read all those words. Congratulations. Welcome to the City of Torrance. We appreciate you coming here and appreciate you guys putting up all the questions. Best of luck going forward. Yeah, you're going to kick Commissioner Riggs out. All right, so we are done with agenda item 8A. That takes us on to agenda item 8B, which is a recommendation to consider approval of MHE 25-00051. Staff, can you please present this?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Recommendation of the Community Development Director that Planning Commission conduct a public hearing and consider denial of an appeal and uphold the Community Development Director's approval of MHE 25-00051 and adoption of resolution number 26-002 for approval of MHE 25-00051 to allow a new 694 square foot attached garage on the north side of the residence on property located within the hillside overlay in the single-family residential R1 zone, and determine a category exemption for this project in accordance with guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act CEQA, Article 19, Section 15301, existing facilities. Furthermore, this item is solely to discuss the proposed garage as it qualifies for the minor hillside exemption. The proposed garage meets and is subject to the R1 development standards as well as the hillside overlay. Staff acknowledges that there's an attached second-story ADU and is also proposed. However, per state law, ADUs are only subject to ministerial review, and therefore the ADU is not before the Planning Commission because it's not subject to discretionary review. Staff is available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And is the appellant present?
Yep.
Please come on forward. We're going to have you speak first. Before you do, I'd just like to make it clear, usually when we have these sort of things, the recommendation is for us to deny the appeal and to approve the project. So theoretically, when we get to the end, you're looking to approve the project, you're going to vote yes to deny the appeal and approve the project. We'll go over it again, but I just want to make sure it's clear because we got sort of a double negative thing.
I just want to clarify that the people up here right now are actually the applicants who are trying to ask the people who actually appealed the project.
Yes, I believe we have the appellant speak first in appeal matters. So do we not have the person who filed it?
We have several people that filed the appeal.
There was one specific individual listed on our item here, but then that person, I guess, could elect to have a representative speak on their behalf. Let me see if I can find the actual name. Do the staff have that in front of them?
So the person who filed the appeal, their name has been redacted for that. In terms of the actual appellant, I believe they can have a representative.
Okay. I thought I saw names, or maybe it was in the underactive one. I thought the whoever
The name's public.
Yeah, we got 4 people. Give out his name.
Yeah, there's just some confusion. The email addresses we redact, but the name of the appellant is public.
I found it here.
If you don't have them, we'll put a recess. Sure, can we ask for 5-minute recess so we can get the name?
I have the file here, if that helps.
Okay.
I think this is the appeal form.
I think the city.
I have it unredacted.
Okay.
Or no, you're right. I don't. I do not. I apologize. I have the name of the applicant. Okay. Yeah. So if we need to. Yeah. All right. We're gonna take 5-minute recess. Don't go too far. We'll be back. We'll be back at 7:14.
Just take it.
7:09.
Yeah,
You and I are just taking a recess.
O.J. Simpson. I thought you were going to be like 10 minutes. I would have waited. Did you see that?
Wait 30 seconds for you if I gave you a comment.
And I was at Orange County.
You were moving fast.
Who's in here? When we come back into the system,
Supplemental 1.
and then the appellant will have 5 more for rebuttal.
Yeah.
What did you just tell me?
Yeah,
The appellant will have 10 minutes.
yeah.
The applicant 10 minutes.
Not burning money. Not gonna happen.
And then the appellant gets 10 more minutes. 5 more minutes, sorry. 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. So I can get that in there. Thank you. You okay?
It's none of my business to me, that's what they restore their cash. This is not a
You'll be surprised. You never know what actually,
I think it's a new thing that's happening.
no, I have experience because those are very popular. And it's funny thing is,
I'm looking for
Awesome. Did you save it on SharePoint? I'm gonna try to log into SharePoint.
Give me a excuse absence.
What's your NET number?
What?
So, I mean, I put my wife through it. Take care of you. You got it.
So there are. No, so there are.
Also, where did you save it? There.
Always like this question.
I got it. Yeah. Jennifer Adams. There's only one listed.
Jennifer Adams is
On the form, it's only Jennifer Adams. There's 5 signatures.
Because I find $2. Right, but those people that say, oh, there we go.
Well, on the form, it's Jennifer Adams. Just like her, on her letter, she has 5. Jennifer Diane Morris.
And later on,
yeah, like the
so they have it. Single floor.
All right. Almost there.
Pushes. Well, maybe put it higher. Yeah. You don't want to count for it with like, that tends to be like good flow, turn the faucet on.
There's a lot of flows that's
They don't take into account. You can't, it's kind of like, you can't make toast and then blow dry your hair and then pop it for too much scenario. It's similar to that with water. No, because
so that was here. I don't sit up here. I don't sit down.
all of these other things.
Catalina.
Now you can sit.
Are you
dancing?
Well, I have to be the crossing guard, so we can't sit.
It's a COSA project. They're stating My name is John Smith, and I live at 123 Blvd.
That's why it's
What's that?
Okay, Chair,
So I'm signing this.
we actually have 5 appellants. This person's not here.
John Adams.
4 of them are here. I've looked at them, they all know that collectively they get 10 minutes. And that, they all want to talk, they should all be up there because it's running tight. And that when you open it for public comment, none of those ones can speak on your public comment. They only can speak as the appellant. Okay?
With the
Say about it.
They're in the bottom.
Yeah, I wasn't going to interrupt you because I didn't know where you were going. So, no, I would never do that. I'm never going to assume. You know what assume stands for?
Look at this.
It's all good. It's all good. I think the thing, you coach, right? You coach, correct? You coach basketball? Yeah. And so I consider it the coach stepping in. So this space, you're enabled to, you're an athlete, you're capable of accepting that criticism, shouldn't be playing. It's as simple as that.
Follow the rules. My first meeting that happened, I learned from Tasha Rolls.
It costs money to do this.
I can read them all out.
They can play while we do
I think we're good to go. I think they gave us, I guess there's 5 appellants, so theoretically those 5. She told me those 5 appellants split the 10 minutes. They don't get to speak to other people. No one gets
He was like, part of the design team. Well, we're here to tell you that it's actually something. All right, everybody, I'm going to call us back to order. We went a little bit longer than we anticipated. 7:18. Staff, can you please get a roll call?
Commissioner Anderson.
Here.
Commissioner Borgel.
Here.
Commissioner Bass.
Here.
Commissioner Riggs.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
Commissioner Yates.
Here.
Chair Kirksonis.
Here.
Mr. Chair, all commissioners are present.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to just elaborate a little bit on this, on how this is going to go. The appellant is going to speak first. So if you guys want to make your way forward, my understanding is there are 5 appellants here. You will have 10 minutes collectively to speak. The appellants, yes, 10 minutes collectively to speak. Also, just to be clear, if you are an appellant, you are not allowed to speak again under the public comment section of this. But then, after the appellant's 10 minutes, we will go to the applicant for 10 minutes. You'll have 10 minutes to speak. Then we will open it up for public comment, and then we will have questions from the commission, and then the appellant will have, let me just make sure I'm correct, the appellant will have 5 minutes again at the end, not the applicant. And we're going to be, we're going to have to be very careful with the time limits, and apologies if we have to cut anybody off. This is a legal proceeding, so we treat it as such. So please do not take offense if we turn off the microphone and try to sit down. because I understand that this is a very sensitive matter for everyone involved. So with that, appellants, you're welcome to all come forward and just, hover around so you don't burn any time making your way up here, or whatever makes you comfortable. With that, we'll start the clock once you start speaking.
When not everybody has all their paperwork.
Yes.
No, the minute you're there, the time starts, so start speaking.
Good evening. I am Michael Walkvogel. My wife and I own and reside at the house at 126 Calle Cabrillo. We moved there in the late 1900s with a 3-week-old baby girl. Our 2 daughters are now adults and on their own. When we toured the house before we bought it, what struck us was the beautiful view from the dining area and the kitchen. The view is of the suite of the Hollywood Riviera Hill and the ocean. The project proposed by our new neighbor to the west at 439 Via Linda Vista would devastate that view. We have met with him and his architect in our house. The architect said he would work with us to preserve our view. At our neighbor's insistence, however, that has not happened. In fact, the neighbor in that meeting, in our house, implied that our view is his for the taking. We asked this committee to deny his project as it is presently proposed, which is a second-story addition blatantly disguised as an ADU. And shame on him for proposing it. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jennifer Adams. I reside at 130 Via Los Miradores, and I apologize for our confusion up here. We didn't realize that we could all be up at one time and have 10 minutes. Otherwise, we probably would have just filed one person on the appeal form so that somebody would have 10 minutes to speak. So anyways, we're sharing our time. So what we have passed out are the photos of my home's view as it currently stands at 130 Via Los Miradores, the mock-up of the second-story addition and how that will be blocking the views at 130 Via Los Miradores, 126 Calle Cabrillo,
441 Via Linda Vista.
and 441 Via Linda Vista. Also, in my public comment letter that I submitted last night or yesterday afternoon, I was a little unclear how the parking situation is for ADUs. It's very confusing on the website, but I did include photographs of our new neighbor's front lawn. They are constantly parking their cars and leaving their trash cans out on the front lawn. So I have a little letter I'd like to read. Okay, so yesterday I submitted my public comment letter detailing my opposition to this project. We also submitted a community public comment letter and an executive summary, which you also have up there with you. So there were at least 133 of us that have signed on to this comment public letter opposing this project. We have a very, very strong community, and there are a lot of concerned neighbors. I think as of this afternoon, there are more than 133 of us that have signed on opposing this two-story addition. And the basis of our opposition is that we just believe the minor hillside exemption was applied in error, and this is actually a two-story addition, not a single-story garage. So because we're kind of short on time, but not really because we didn't know, I just wanted to share that, what I did not write in my letter is that I grew up in Torrance. I've owned 3 homes. This is the 3rd home that I've owned in Torrance with my husband. We have 3 children. I've had 2 homes in the Hillside Overlay neighborhoods. I've remodeled all 3 of my homes. I've always taken into consideration the Hillside Ordinance, and I've never tried to be disrespectful to my neighbors. I've always worked it out with them if there were any concerns, agreeable. So when we purchased this home that we currently live in 2019, I thought it was going to be our forever home. Like, it's amazing. We love the community. We love our neighbors. We love our view. I went to South High. My kids are going through South High, and I have actually one kid that graduated, and he's already in college. So I'm just really, really hoping that I wasn't wrong in thinking that this was my forever home. We work hard, my husband and I. We work really hard to live in this neighborhood. So it's just devastating to us that somebody could come in and selfishly want to take away all of our views. It's beyond. It just makes me sick at night. And I would hope that the Planning Commission would take a look at this project and reconsider how the permit went through, how it was approved. Possibly it was approved in error, and just really consider everyone that's here tonight and all of the comments that you will hear. We just are really appealing to you to make a different decision than what's already been made. Okay, so I think we'll yield back our time. Is that what you say?
All right, thank you all. I'm going to ask that we hold the applause. Thank you all. With that, we're going to open it up now to the applicant. You're going to have 10 minutes to speak. And
hello, everybody. Thanks for the time. My name's Sam Dong. I was born and raised here in Torrance and Hermosa. I love the area, love the place. I went to school out in Los Angeles. I stayed there for about 10 years. Got married, had a kid, and then once we figured out we were having a second one, that's when we decided, hey, it's time to move back to, the area that I grew up in, that I dearly love. My parents, sister, grandma, live all down the street. So, so we decided to come back here. Along the way, right, I now have a 3-month-old, so we're doing that. I do apologize for the trash cans out, on the front. Sometimes we're just pretty sleep deprived and just trying to survive right now. But, we just need a little more space. We picked up a mother-in-law, and I have a special needs sister-in-law now that we help take care of. So this project with the garage and whatnot we're discussing today is just kind of growing needs for our growing family. So that's about it. That's all I have to say, really. If anyone has any questions, we're definitely happy to answer them.
Good evening, Commissioners. So I'm here to assist my client, which he had asked to help him to enhance his existing living spaces, which more specifically the garage which he has at the moment, with the understanding that this application is for the MHE process of approval. The garage, I believe this whole structure is built in 1960 or so. Back then, the environment that we live in was smaller for accommodation. As families grow, as Mr. Gall has mentioned, he needs additional space, and that's when we came in to propose a slightly larger garage. It's around it grows from, at the moment, around 400 square feet or so, 380 square feet, to 600 square feet or so, 680 square feet. So our proposal does fully comply with the local development standards, setback, height limitation, and that is the whole purpose of our approach here. It's basically to also at the same time to complement the existing residents there and hopefully enhance the neighborhood as well.
I'm so sorry, who are you?
I'm the architect assisting my client.
You got a name?
Sorry, my name is Bin Wong.
Thank you.
Yes.
Before you leave, I think, no further comments? I don't want to take away any time.
Nope, no, good. No comment.
Okay, perfect. As I said, we're going to open it up for questions. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of questions here in a minute. Before you leave, I have one question for the sake of disclosure. Mr. Bong, did you do Taekwondo
Yes,
several
sir.
years ago? Okay.
Yeah, J-Lee Taekwondo
J-Lee
in
Taekwondo.
Hermosa Beach.
Yep. So I did Taekwondo with the applicant here. This was, I'm looking at the city attorney real quick, this was 15 years ago, and we have had no interaction since. It's not anything that would...
As long as you think you can be fair, it's not an issue.
Yes, I'm gonna vote fairly based on the evidence and my own personal observations. But it is good to see you again. Congratulations on the child, and just wanted to make that disclosure. I didn't recognize until you introduced yourself.
Likewise, man. Yeah. Been a while.
With that, I'm going to ask the two of you to have a seat. We're going to open it up to public comment. As I mentioned before, we have, sorry, I'm looking for the number here, the time limit on public comment for public hearings is still 2 minutes, correct? Okay. So you will have 2 minutes to speak on this item. As I mentioned before, we have to keep it relevant, but you are welcome to come on up. You can start making a line. We don't have to go one by one, so if you guys want to queue up behind each other, you're welcome to do that.
We put these, or
you put it right there in that box.
Hi, my name is John Sable. I've lived in the Hollywood Riviera my entire life. I still live there. The thing that makes the Hollywood Riviera special is that almost every home has a view. And the ones that do have a view pay premium for that view. That's why the hillside overlay was so important to so many of the residents. This ADU is going to impact the neighborhood in several different ways. The style, and I always thought that the ADUs had to be in the same vernacular, architecture vernacular. This is totally different than the style of his home presently. So it's really an addition. We're talking about an addition, not an ADU. And he's talking about adding extra space for a growing family. That's an addition, right? That's what you talk about when you start adding square footage to live in. And so the problem that I have with this as a neighbor is that if this is allowed to continue, it's going to be a free-for-all. You guys are going to have more of this stuff than ever before. And I think you're going to get lawsuits, and I'm sure that the state will have to change their rules. But, if it was on flat land, I can see adding up on the second level. But this is on an area where you're going to impact not only the two neighbors behind, it's going to impact the neighbor here. He's going to probably take his garage because he has so many cars, and he's going to have more people living on that. He's probably going to turn the garage into a living space too, and that's one of my concerns. So that means the cars will probably end up on the street, and the streets are very...
Sorry, sir, your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Urquhart. It's URQ You requested that. I live at 217 Calle Madrid in the Hollywood Riviera, which is covered by the hillside overlay. And I also grew up one street over from the project in question. I'm here to request the city immediately stay and remand the ministerial approval for the ADU project at 439 Via Linda Vista. This is not an objection to the construction of an ADU. It is a request to the city to follow state law and its own objective standards. This project is a clear case of permit segmenting designed to bypass our community's zoning protections, and I want to highlight the following 3 points. First is height limits on attached ADUs under California Government Code Section 66321, paragraph B, subparagraph 4. The state requires ministerial approval for structures under 25 feet, or the lower of 25 feet, or the primary residence. The primary residence is governed by local ordinances, and that since this is a single-story structure, the objective height limit under the hillside overlay is 14 feet, meaning this did not need ministerial approval. Second, prior certification. The primary residence was recently approved under a minor hillside exemption, which strictly is limited to one-story structures under 14 feet. By approving a 20-foot plus ADU on top of that structure, the city is allowing the applicant to violate the very condition that granted them the exemption from a precise plan in the first place. So number 3, procedural error. By approving a 2-story attached structure ministerially, the city has ignored its own height cap, and this sets a dangerous precedent where any homeowner can bypass a precise plan process and the view, light, and air protections of their neighbors simply by labeling a second-story addition as an ADU. If the applicant desires a 1-story ADU, we welcome its ministerial approval. However, if the applicant desires a 2-story structure, the law requires that the primary residence be first approved to the height through a precise plan, and we ask the city to correct this procedural error and protect the orderly development process that our residents rely on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. My name is Patty Lagrelius, Lagrelius. My husband and I have owned at 171 Via Los Miradores for 41 years. We have raised 3 children there. We are 1 block away from 439 Via Linda Vista. We chose the Riviera as it has so many positives, including being near the beach, family-oriented with wonderful neighbors, great views, and striking views, and great schools. To go along with the views for protection, it was the hillside overlay really was important to us. In 1991, we added on 2 bedrooms as our family was growing. We followed all the rules, put our flags up to show our slightly changing roof line, got approved, began project, ended project. We plan to have this be our forever home in this amazing neighborhood. We are aware of recent laws passed in Sacramento regarding ADUs. However, we strongly request that you review the process of which this minor hillside exemption was approved. The loophole that has been used in this project, if not corrected, will create a detrimental effect on the beautiful Riviera going forward. Not only might we lose our views, the lovely aesthetics of our neighborhood will be greatly affected negatively. Plus, it will negatively affect the real estate value of our homes. We request that you remove the approval of this project as presented and review the process in which it was initially approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members, commission members. Thank you for serving the city of Torrance. I think it's important that all of us take an interest in our communities. My name is Steve Olson, O-L-S-O-N. I live at 177 Via Monte d'Oro, also in the Riviera. Congratulations, Mr. Wong, on your growing family. Reminds me of our family as a young family growing up in the area, so congratulations on that. Decades ago, the city of Torrance established the hillside overlay. So none of us were here at that point, at that time, about 50 years ago, but we all understand why that overlay was created, right? It's to protect sight, views, air, light, privacy. We understand that. But it was also implemented to protect the economic interests of the residents who live in the area. This project here, as the way that it's been approved, it clearly violates, in my opinion, the core tenets of that hillside overlay. Protecting view, privacy, air, all of that. Now, I'm not going to be directly affected by this project. I live several blocks away, so this project doesn't directly affect me. However, I'm fearful, as many of us are here, of the precedent that it sets. It's building a 2-story structure on top of a garage. We all understand the need for affordable housing in the area. However, building that structure, it's going to inhibit and it's going to obstruct light and views of the neighbors in the area. And that's the exact thing that the council members 50 years ago were trying to prevent. So thank you for the time, and thank you for reconsidering your decision about this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Come on forward.
Brad Baker, B-A-K-E-R, 435 Via Linda Vista. I live next door to Mr. Gahn on the downhill side, so none of this construction will affect me, my view, or anything like that. I just wanted to say that I think if you guys approve this exemption, that you have done your due diligence and looked at all the factors involved and made your decision accordingly. So with all the construction going on in the South Bay now, and there's tons of it, I see no reason why Mr. Gahn can't put up his ADU. I think it's kind of ironic, and I'll just end with this. I'm not going to say how much views people are going to lose or so forth. Everybody has their own idea how much they're going to lose and so forth. But I think it's really ironic that 2 of the houses behind me were built after vacant lots and a small house were there for 100 years, it seems like. My whole life. I grew up in this house. My dad built it in the late 50s. 2 of the houses behind me now also went 2-story and really pissed off a lot of the neighbors on the other side of Via Los Miradores who said their views were being impacted. I just find that real ironic. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other members? Please come on forward.
I want to call the Planning Commission's attention to supplemental number 2, pages 9 through 27. It's fairly lengthy, but I think it really puts its finger on the problem. And I'd like to emphasize, I think it's the result of this, is that if something's not done here, the entire problem with using ADUs at second stories to subvert regulation or runaway construction in the hillside, it's going to be gone, done. And as far as I can see, you are the people that are best positioned to address this and say, what can we do? What do we need to change the present law and its application in the hillside, which I think would be dealing with whether you use 9141.7 as a controlling limit in construction. But if you don't act, the hillside's going to be gone very soon. And as you know, once somebody gets a permit and builds, you don't take it down. You have to rely on earthquakes, I guess. I don't think that's the way to deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners, Chair. My name is Elizabeth Spatz, last name S-P-A-T-Z, and I'm here speaking as a Riviera resident who is concerned about the hillside overlay. And as you've heard me speak before, we all know that it does not contain the language that is necessary to manage all projects, including ADUs, that are now being constructed in the hillside overlay. So we do need to look at that language and try to invest some objective language to update the subjective language, and I'd appreciate any encouragement that you can give the City Council to let you do these updates and bring the 1977 code up to par so that we can stop a lot of these discussions going back and forth about the ADUs and any other projects who might fall into the category of being part of the overlay. Growth is good, we need to do it responsibly. The other thing I'd like to point out is the architecture, while very modern, very forward-looking, and it may do the job that the owner is hoping it will do, it is not within the architectural style of the hillside overlay and the Riviera. Look at the architect's past projects, and while exciting, they're his projects. This is not a project that looks like it belongs in the Riviera. So do a little background homework, look at that roof line, and let the architect try to work out some more discussions. He said that he could bring the roof line down, possibly even do the construction at a lower starting point. I think this it would be good to look at as a part of the discussion so that we can preserve some of the community that they all want to belong to. But let's have some harmony and have a little bit more time to get this project right. Thank you.
Ms. Batts, before you run off, I do have a question I'm going to direct to the city attorney. Ms. Batts and I have a financial relationship. She has contributed to my city council campaign. My understanding is she has no financial investment in this project whatsoever, so I just want to clarify that a disclosure would be something that I should do, but recusal is not something that would be warranted.
That's correct. Since she's not the applicant, that would not be a concern.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thank you. All right, any other members of the public wish to speak?
My name is Deborah Gearing, and I reside at 127 Villas Miradores. And my concern is, as others have mentioned, the process of how this has been approved, and I would respectively ask that this be reconsidered. We do have a lovely community that we live in, and we would like to continue this lovely community where our views are being upheld, but also that the style is also in the realm of this community. So again, I respect, or I ask that this be reconsidered and also the process be reconsidered so that going forward, we don't have more and more of this snowball effect in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak on this item?
All right, good evening. My name is Catherine Dunnigan from 169 Via Monte d'Oro. And I want to briefly share my context and then focus on the procedural issue in front of you. I am a third-generation Torrance resident raised in the Riviera, and my grandparents served on the Cultural Arts Commission, and I purchased a home a few blocks away from where my dad still lives in the Riviera. This city invested in my family, and I chose to invest back in it, partially because I believed in the fairness the hillside overlay represents. My husband and I are currently renovating our one-story home, and we made a remodel decisions in line with the ordinance. So the concern tonight is not that someone wants to build an ADU. State law allows that, and many of us understand that. The concern is that the process that protects all of us was not correctly followed. Nothing in state law allows or requires a two-story building to be treated as if it were a one-story in order to fit it through the minor hillside exemption. Yet, the exemption was granted based on a one-story form that will never exist under the actual plans. You looked at this as a one-story, but it's actually a two-story building. Under the city's own ADU ordinance, this is considered a two-story building. These details matter because the 14-foot height limit for the exemption process is an objective threshold that the city did not take into account. And if this stands, the city is dismantling the hillside overlay without a public hearing or an actual ordinance change. So I am asking you to remand, not necessarily deny, so that this project goes through the correct procedure. For more detail, please see the public comment letter submitted by over 130 Torrance residents. We've provided that full letter in the public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak on agenda item 8B? Come forward.
My name is Teresa Rankin. I live, the people that are being affected by this are my close neighbors. I'm on Paseo de Gracia. There seems to be so little attention paid to what an ADU is. Architects are building on the back of houses, and they're not really ADUs. I don't believe this is an ADU. I think this is a second-story addition. I think you really need to pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public who wish to speak on agenda item 8B? All right. This will be your one chance. There's not another opportunity, so if you wish to speak, now's your opportunity. All right. Seeing none, I'm going to bring us back up here. And we are going to give the appellant 5 minutes to respond. I believe not the applicant, it's just the appellant. We'll be able to ask questions of anyone, that's correct. But just right now, the appellant will have 5 minutes to respond.
I just want to emphasize, I would love for the 7 of you to come to my kitchen and dining room and see what this is going to do to my view. It's going to be gone. I realize that this supposedly is just a discussion of the garage, but I went to the city and looked at the plans, and there's not a plan of a garage and then maybe you. It's one unit. This is a second-story addition. Please consider that. Thank you.
I was so nervous before, but I have some more thoughts. So in my 6-page letter that I submitted yesterday, I kind of went point by point and refuted some of the issues that were brought out in the staff report, as well as the proposed resolution. So the city is alleging that if this permit is not followed through on, that the family would have a hardship. So my question is, what's the hardship? He just stood up here and said he needs more space. He bought this $1.8 million home a year ago. I'd like to know what the hardship is. He wants his nanny to have some living space. He wants views. We sat in my neighbor's kitchen with Sam and his architect Ben, and the architect tried to work with us. He said, hey Sam, we could change the roof line. We could build a pitched roof. Sam said, then I won't have my high ceilings. So the architect said, well, hey, we could lower, we could go further down into the ground. It's gonna cost you more money, but we could do that. Then, everyone will be happy. Sam said, then I won't have my view. So I don't see a hardship there. Okay, I'm very upset right now, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, again, in the report and in the proposed resolution, it's all about how it's going to be great for them. It's going to increase their property value. It's not impacting the neighbors. The architecture is in line with the community. I would like to know which staff drove through our neighborhood. There is no modern looking home in any of the surrounding streets. I would like to know which staff said that this architecture of this new proposed 2-story addition matches the rest of the homes in that neighborhood. It doesn't. So again, in my 6-page letter that I submitted yesterday, I tried to my best to refute those points. And again, our property values will be decreased. He will have a view, his will go up, and then we will have to figure out what we're gonna do from there. So again, we just urge you to reconsider this exemption. We don't believe it was approved correctly or used correctly, and we urge you to please look at everything that was submitted to you via email and what was expressed here today. Thank you.
My name's Diane Marcillo. I'm at 126 Calle Cabrillo. My husband talked about when we walked in and saw our little dining room and kitchen, and the realtor at the time that was working with us, he said, small little house, it's not really big, but the little bit of view that you have, he goes, that is the majority of what this house is worth, is that view that you have there. So I know we can't talk about the views and blocking it, but losing that will severely impact our net worth, our retirement plans if we choose to sell it, because it will be worth less. It's just a financial hit, because from what I understand is that we didn't get to see a picture of what the one-story garage looked like that was approved by the Planning Commission. All we saw was the picture of the big, huge two-story addition. So please reconsider. Please support what everybody else has said. Thank you. Okay, got 56 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, we're going to bring it back here to the commission to ask questions. I think it's probably appropriate for us to try to maybe ask all the questions from one group first, and then all our questions from the other group. I understand we may need to make you guys stand up and down a few times, but if we can try to just pick one group so that one can come up. So maybe let's do the applicant first. If you guys can come up to the podium there, and we will open it up for questions. Commissioner Borgelli.
Thank you, Chair. I'm trying to level set in my mind the appellant's concerns about this project, and I hear ADU mentioned. I thought that we were dealing with just a garage, and that if an ADU was in the mix, that would be something that would have its own separate timeline. I'm hoping that staff can shed some light on this to level set for myself, for my fellow commissioners, and others.
Yes, Commissioner. So you're correct. This meeting is for solely the garage, not the ADU. As mentioned, staff acknowledges that there is a proposed second-story ADU. However, it's not subject to discretionary review per state law. The garage, however, was qualified for the Meyer Hillside exemption, and that's why we were talking about the garage, because the MHE mentioned the garage was what was appealed for the garage.
So if you could, please, has the ADU entered a specific timeline already, and that it came before the Planning Commission for ministerial approval?
No, so the ADU has not, in the order process, it is only the garage we're talking about, so we're not even talking about the ADU right now, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, because there are specific guidelines that the state has submitted that if you file for an ADU, there's a certain window of time that's either approved or denied. And what I'm trying to hold in my mind is the garage is really the subject here. The ADU hasn't even been applied for this particular property.
Commissioner, you are correct. We do not have an application for the ADU through the building department at this point, so it's not under review currently.
Okay.
So, can I just elaborate on that question real quick? If they want to build the ADU, that's going to have to come through the Planning Commission through a precise plan, or it will be totally ministerial?
The ADU, would not go through a precise plan. It would be ministerial through a plan check.
That's only if it meets certain requirements. Well, hold on. Because I know we have seen some ADUs as a component of hillside overlay projects, and we've still had to weigh in on them even though our hands have been tied through a precise plan process.
Chairperson is the
ADU state law allows for decision-making bodies such as the planning commission or city council to review projects for residential additions, new single-family residences that may include within the scope of work an accessory dwelling unit. However, as part of that discretionary review, the decision-making body, or the planning commission in this case, is not allowed to weigh in on the ADU. State law does allow the local agency, the permitting agency, to hold on the plan check process for the ADU until the discretionary approvals are completed for the primary dwelling, in this case, the garage addition to the primary dwelling, so that the agency is protected by under state law. Under normal timelines, as Commissioner Borgelli raised, if the project were intended to plan check, the Building and Safety Division would have 60 calendar days to complete the review and issue the permit for that accessory dwelling unit, unless there were some sort of corrections identified with the plan check process. But in this case, there is no timeline for the ADU because it is pending review of garage addition to the primary dwelling and not subject to discretionary review by this body, Planning Commission, nor the City Council where it would be appealed.
Thank you.
So therein is my basis for the questions that I'll ask the applicant, because they're proposing a garage of 690 some odd square feet versus what they have right now. And at a 10.5 foot ceiling, is what I understand, a roof line. And as we get into these questions of the applicant here, the first thought that comes to my mind is, well, if you can't get a garage approved for 694 square feet, what does that do to your ADU plans? My thought process is people rethink things. So I'm going to leave it there and get my time back. But this is about a garage, is as a potential enabler. But I don't think that the 694 square feet, the additional square footage, is an enabler by itself.
Thank you. Staff, can you elaborate on why the garage requires a minor hillside exemption?
So, yes, so the garage qualifies for a minor hillside exemption because this is an addition to an existing single-family residence. It falls under the category and qualification for a minor hillside exemption. That is why the applicant has applied for one. Did you want to add more to that?
Well, I think the question was, so I know when we have precise plans, there's a threshold that has to be over a certain height or something.
Okay, I think I understand. So in this case, minor hillside extension process is for residents who have a project, in this case a residence, within the hillside overlay that is below 14 feet in height, less than 2 stories, has an interior less than 50%. Less appeal, this process does not involve public hearing and instead notifies immediate surrounding neighbors. Those who are notified have 10 business days to either reach out to staff with questions/correspondence, or can come into the permit center in person to look at the plans, versus a precise plan like that entitlement. In this case, precise plans for a single-family residence in this case, that is over 14 feet of height, over 1 story, has an interior of over 50%. That involves a public hearing and notifying people within a 500-foot radius. And staff has pointed out that the ADU is attached to, but is not a part of the single-family residence.
Understood. So just so we know what we're dealing with, the reasons that a minor hillside exemption could be denied would be air light view privacy.
Yeah, that's correct.
But specifically in relation to
the single-family residence, in this case, the garage.
Understood. Okay. I know there are some other questions. Commissioner Vance.
Okay, I'm going to take a slightly different tack. So we keep talking about garage. I'm going to widen the aperture slightly. I think we're talking about the project that is not the ADU. And I'll tell you why I think that's what it is. When I look at these drawings that you passed out to me, I see some changes. And I guess, first of all, I need to disclose, I have visited the site. Anything that I decide here is going to be based on my observations, public testimony, and the evidence presented. So, when I look at these drawings and my observation, there's a front door that faces out to the street. When I look at this rendering, that rendering, and this architectural drawing, where the architect made sure to include all the doors, the front door that I saw today is missing. So I got to ask the applicant or the homeowner, is there an intent to move the front door over here?
Commissioner, so the existing residence is meant to be maintained as existing. So if you saw there's a front door missing, it's not meant to be missing. The purpose is just to enhance and enlarge the parking space.
Fair enough, but it's important that I get you on the record. So I think you're saying there's an error here. There probably should be, the existing front door should be shown.
There's no renovation to the existing residence.
Fair enough, because there's a separate entrance requirement on ADU.
Correct.
So we're not going to share those.
Absolutely.
All right. I do have other questions, but they are for the appellant. So with respect to your wishes, Chair, I'll hold off on those.
Thank you. Can I just ask, what's the, looking at the drawings here, the difference between, I'm sort of just talking out loud, I'm trying to find it, but maybe staff can help me. What's the difference between the current garage and the new garage?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sorry, basically the difference between the current garage and the new garage.
So the current garage is the whole structures on this property is around 1960, the mid-60s. It's quite deteriorating. And as you are aware, living in California, through the decades, back in the 60s and 70s, garage living spaces were smaller. And today, as we live in a different environment, vehicle, cars, SUVs are larger. Families are also being increased as well. So we are applying for just to enhance the size of the garage. That was both of us.
Thank you. Commissioner Bass, you're good, right? Sorry, I didn't tell you.
I had a question for staff, just a minor thing. There was some mention about parking on the lawn. Is parking on the lawn not allowed in Torrance?
Commissioner, in terms of...
If that's not a planning scope thing, that's okay. You can tell me.
Chair, Commissioners, Michelle Ramirez, Community Development Director, no. Parking is not allowed on the lawn, and that is something that I will inform code enforcement tomorrow so they can go out and start investigating that.
Okay, I did observe that today, so hopefully there's going to be a change tomorrow.
Commissioner Borgello.
This is for the architect.
Yes.
So is it customary on drawings that the piece that's going to remain is pretty much whitewashed? It doesn't show the existing windows, doors, and the light? Is that customary?
Well, the plan has not been fully developed yet. At the moment, we are at the planning stage. The design of the structure, the interior design, the elaboration of the exterior finishes are not fully detailed at the moment. There will be windows, there will be fenestration which complement the existing residents and the neighborhood as well. As also along with that, the finishes, the color, the materials, and so on.
So in the case of this particular minor hillside exemption,
yes,
this is for additional square footage to a garage that'll serve as an additional room for the resident?
that is correct. So my client realized that the existing garage is only around 350 square feet. It's approximately, I would say, 19 feet wide by 20-something feet deep. He has a few cars that does not fit in this garage at the moment. And to accommodate that, As I had mentioned before, the garage was built in the 60s or 70s. And we proposed to enhance the size of the garage based on the fully compliance with the local ordinance of the city. That was the only purpose.
So with the automobiles parked on the lawn and sort of bunched up as we're showing in some of the pictures, photographs that were taken, is this new garage going to be specifically for automobiles to go into, or is
Absolutely.
This is solely an automotive type of component? Now, my next question would be, there's an ADU that's been mentioned the entire evening, which is not on the table. That's a separate application that would have to be submitted to the city, correct?
They are separate, that's correct.
Yeah. So, in looking at this garage, if it were not to your client's standards to park all the automobiles, and you were to reconsider the garage by way of not adding square footage to it, but this is a hypothetical going underneath, you could accommodate the cars, but the ADU could still come forth under the parameters that the state has given us and be placed right on top of that existing footprint if this garage was not expanded.
You are correct, Commissioner. The implication of having a depressed or semi-depressed garage is the disturbance of the existing soil condition and possible erosion of the environment. So that's why we're proposing to maintain at grade level as what the existing garage is.
But even if you were to compromise the soil, go underneath, and you
Yes.
kept the structure as it is right now, an ADU going up above that existing structure could be applied for with a request for ministerial approval. Is that correct? That's the staff.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. I'm set in terms of where I need to be. Thank you. Commissioner Bass.
I just had some questions for staff. When I observed the property today, it appeared that, okay, there's a separate detached garage, there's a bit of a breezeway, I think that's how it's characterized, and then there's the house. So, as a layperson, I would call that detached. Is it detached?
No, so Commissioner, it would be considered attached because it is attached by the roof on top of the breezeway, so it's considered an attached garage.
All right, so whatever rules we apply to attached properties is what we're going with here.
Yes, attached garage.
All right, so these doors still bug me, so I'm going to ask you about them. It seems to me, when I look at these doors, when you move from the garage towards the main house, okay, you open a door from the garage, you're in a breezeway, and then you can open up the door into the house. But the minute you open that door from the garage, you're effectively in the ADU, are you not?
So Commissioner, in terms of this, if there is any development standards for the ADU that staff needs to deem as like a state correction, that would be done in plan check. But for this, we're only dealing with the garage itself. So you can enter the garage from the main single-family residence. However, if you're referring to stuff like the ADU, that could be a correction dealt in a plan check. But it's not part of this discussion right now in terms of this.
I guess the question is the breezeway considered part of the ADU or part of the garage?
For that, I would leave that to the actual applicant to answer that.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner. So you mentioned about the breezeway. Yes, it is to accommodate access to the future garage in the second level.
Okay, I guess lacking a door in front of these stairs, I guess it's a question to staff. It's just an odd thing to see. You have to go going from a garage to the main house, you have to go inside the ADU space, it seems. I mean, once you're in that breezeway, you're in the ADU, are you not?
Commissioner, so once again, it would be one of those things where if it is a correction in terms of for the ADU, that has to be dealt with actually in plan check. So it can be a correction brought up when plan check for the ADU.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Riggs.
I see the pictures here, but I don't see any flags or anything. I don't think we need flags, right? Because it's just under the higher level and stuff, right?
You're referring to the...
To the applicants.
Oh, pledge for the
garage.
Oh, okay.
Could be for anybody.
Oh, okay. So for that, the flags were not required for this project.
That's just to clarify, that's because it's a minor hillside exemption project, not a precise plan.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I don't see any more yet. So let's have the two of you sit down. We may have some more for you. Commissioner Bordelli for the applicant? For the, oh yeah, don't worry away yet, sorry.
For the applicant. So, in your particular situation, Mr. Wong, you indicated that you have a growing family. You have aging in-laws, perhaps, and somebody with special needs and the like, and that you need additional space. The garage, first and foremost, is going to provide you with parking availability to satisfy the needs of the neighborhood. Keep it orderly for your cars. But when you say that you have a growing family and you are going to bring people into your property, it automatically comes to mind that this either is a precise plan or an ADU. And ADU is not on the table tonight, it's just the garage. That's a simple thing. But the notion of how the additional space is used, whether it's used for a growing family or it's rented out, is a whole other topic, which I'm sure our attorney would tell me that's sort of off limits right here.
That's correct.
Point's well taken, buddy. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I've got this set in my mind. Garage tonight, the notion of whether this needs to go for a precise plan or an ADU is a whole different beast.
I would agree that tonight's just the garage, correct?
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Gong, Mr. Wong, you may have a seat. We're going to bring up the appellants and then ask some questions. Then, if you all five want to come up here, or four, I think, that are here, that would be great. Or you can send up a representative however you feel comfortable.
Are we able to bring up Catherine Dunnigan in place of one of us?
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it just needs to be, at this point, it just needs to be the appellants. Apologize.
They can't elect someone to speak for them.
They could have at the beginning, but at this point, we're past the Let me make sure before, to the city attorney, that they can't, at this point?
No.
Okay.
They elected who to proceed with the people they did in the hearing. They're going to stay with the same people.
Okay, thank you. All right, questions? Commissioner Borgelli.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Michael. Michael, do you hold in your mind that this ADU is a fait accompli? That it's signed, sealed, and delivered?
I hope not.
But do you hold in your mind tonight that if this garage were to be approved for additional square footage to move these automobiles in the garage, that dictates that an ADU will be forthcoming in the very near future, and that there's something about this garage that if it's not allowed is going to stop that ADU from coming?
I think everybody in this room knows that this garage and ADU are one project, and that's what the plans of the city show. I have not seen plans of just a garage.
There's nothing.
So I guess to answer your question, I think yes. I think everybody here knows that that's Sam's plan, which will devastate my view and decrease my property value by $500,000.
Should they have we went to the planning commission to look at the plans. And we walked in, they showed us these plans, they had measurements for everything, and nowhere on those plans was there a picture of a garage. There was no garage for us to look at. It was just the big building. There was no garage with the thing. And also, if it's attached, like you said, with the breezeway, at what point is that an addition and not an ADU? Anyway, there's just so many questions with this, that there's bits and pieces that are not connecting to.
So do you hold in your mind that if the garage is not approved, the applicant will not file for an ADU?
If the
If the garage is not approved
correct.
for the additional square footage,
Yep.
that the applicant will not file papers to build an ADU?
100%.
You hold that in your mind that that's the case?
Right? He won't get an ADU. He won't apply for an
No,
ADU.
he may, who knows what he'll apply for.
Okay.
Yeah.
The situation here about the ADU is something where I think a precise plan is being confused, or an ADU is being confused with a precise plan. There's a process that the resident would take if they were building additional square footage for living, if they were not putting in an ADU that would require a silhouette of the house.
Right.
In this particular case, the garage fell below 14-foot roof line, 10 feet and a half, and added additional space for automobiles. We understand that's the case. But if under the circumstances, the applicant wishes to place an ADU on top of that house, that's a different path than saying I want to build out for my own residential use, which if that's the case, would typically initiate a precise plan. So I'm just trying to understand where your heads might be on this so I can hear.
The plans that I saw, the title of it says ADU and garage.
Which is fine, which is fine.
I think the plans are pretty fluid according to the architect. They're not necessarily done.
So if it's just a plan for a garage,
Yeah.
do they have to build the garage and then submit plans for their ADU?
It's my
They
understanding.
do, okay.
Yeah, it's my understanding.
So we could sit and watch them build a garage.
He's asked for flags to be put up for the whole project, and they have refused.
Well, they put little things.
They put flags for the
Okay.
garage, which we can't see, and I would actually not have an objection to. But they refused to put up flags for the whole project so we could see what's happening.
Sorry.
Ms. Ramirez.
Chair, Commissioners, Michelle Ramirez, Community Development Director. I need to remind the Commission that the oral comments is done, that if you want to ask a question, that can be responded to, but we shouldn't be getting in this back and forth at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Further questions? Commissioner Borchado?
I'm all set, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Vejas?
Michael, what's your last name? I
Walked Vogel?
say it again, sir?
Walked Vogel.
Okay. I want to respect and not abuse your last name.
Call me Michael if you like.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that permission. You asked if we could just come to your house and see that view. There's a number of us here who have a view, and we'd be as fierce a fighter as anybody else to protect our view. So I completely understand this. Okay. Unfortunately, I think this is the first one of these that's hitting your area. Everybody's discovering it at the same time. We've had quite a few of these come up here. If this was 2 years ago, it would. And I'm going to cue up Community Development Director Ramirez because I'm going to ask her a related question very soon. If this was 2 years ago, we could take those view arguments and that would be a valid argument. But if I sat here today and said I'm going to vote against this because of your view blockage, I believe, Mr. Ramirez, quote me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you will. If I made that statement, I think you would tell me that you're probably, if enough of us did that, you'd have to go to the city council and say, I need you to reverse this decision or something along those lines. Is that correct?
Chair, Commissioners, Michelle Ramirez, Community Development Director, if we were here to discuss the ADU and you were to deny an ADU, then yes, because you can only deny for objective standards, not subjective standards, and a view is a subjective standard. But we are here tonight to discuss the garage and not the ADU.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Before you run off, Mr. Ramirez, sorry. While I have you here. However, minor hillside exemptions can be denied because of subjective reasons.
The garage itself can be denied if you can come up with reasons for it to be denied that are legal, that can be brought back for the council or the commission's future approval.
Understood. Thank you.
Gotcha. So the main thing I wanted to confer, it's okay, you did your mission, is Michael, I can't, as you heard it, I can't vote against this because of an ADU that's blocking your views. I sympathize heavily, but none of us can, not for that reason. We have to stick with the scope, and that's the garage. So, like I said, if it was 2 years ago, it would be an issue.
Thank you, Commissioner Rios. I want to clarify a couple things, and then I have some questions, probably mostly for staff. But I want to clarify for everyone here, and staff can correct me by having sort of mistakes here, but just the process of how this happened, because I know this is new for probably a lot of people, and I just want to make sure everyone knows what happened and what is happening. So the process for this is that this application, none of this ever came before the Planning Commission. This is the first time that we've seen this, the first time we're discussing this, the 7 of us. However, minor hillside exemption due to staff and the decision made there. The reason that we're doing this is because it's appealed to us. It can be then appealed beyond us to the city council, and that's really the process that this goes through. In regards to the ADU, that's something essentially that was already said, that that's something that's totally separate, and really we don't have a say over that, whether we want to or not. It's state law, and if you had been here at some of our previous meetings, you would have heard us lamenting the fact that so much of the power of the city and its residents are being taken away by the state. This is the sort of thing that I think I was afraid of, and I know the rest of the commission and our council and our staff are afraid of, in that our hands are getting tied more and more and more by this sort of thing. To the point where right now, we don't actually have a say over ADUs at all in our city, which is regrettable. We have, hold on, which is something that we have fought.
You can't yell out from the audience.
Which is something that this city has, and staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but we actually entered into amicus briefs and fought the state for a lot of this stuff, and we spent a lot of money fighting this stuff, and we, along with every other city in the state of California, has lost. But I do still have some questions for staff. Excuse me while I try to work my way through all my notes. So the garage is just essentially slightly better than it was before. Is it taller, or how are we defining that?
So I would actually defer some of those questions to the first comment. So you said the garage is slightly bigger, yes. In terms of original height, I believe it is slightly taller. However, it meets all standard requirements that fit the minor exemption, and it meets all of those standards of R1 zone, including setbacks and heights.
Got it. And in the determination of staff, the additions to the garage do not impede air, light, view, or privacy.
Based on staff's assessment, the garage does not impede that.
Okay. I will ask that question of the applicant here in a minute, but let me come back to that one. One other question I have then too is, so traditionally with hillside overlay cases, view, light, air, privacy, I know sometimes subjectivity comes into play when we talk about view or look and feel and materials and stylistically. Is that something that applies in this case?
Just to clarify, I'm not sure how to play the question, but in terms of the actual report, it is determined that light, view, air, all that, as well as all what you just mentioned, does not affect the surrounding neighbors in terms of the reports, and it was approved at the time. I'm not sure if I got the second part.
Sort of. I just think that, I guess the question I have then is, and in the past I know we have denied hillside overlay precise plans because we don't feel that they fit with the neighborhood in the way that they look or the massing or anything like that. And I don't know if that's something that's, yeah, Mr. Orts.
No, go ahead.
Or, no, I
was going to give guidance
I was blabbering on anyway, but just essentially that sometimes we take into account the look and feel, the massing, the materials, and I don't know if that's something that is...
If I could, it would be only as to the garage. So you can't
specifically to the garage, correct.
Specifically to the garage. So the 10-foot garage, you would have to say that was too massive. And I don't think you can say that about a 10-foot garage.
Sure.
And yes, the scope would just be for the garage, correct, as well as all the scope of work and the way it looks. If we're talking about just the garage, we can't do it for the...
Not for, oh yeah, obviously not for the additional project, the ADU, the hypothetical ADU. But it does, in I don't know what to say hypothetical, but in practice, look and feel is one of the considerations as a subjective determination.
For the garage?
Yes. Okay.
Chair says that's correct, and that is evaluated by staff based on, for example, exterior finishes. If the residence is stucco finish, in the garage addition, we would look for a stucco finish matching the color palette as well. If it's vinyl siding, we would ask for vinyl siding to meet that finding as well. That's how staff would evaluate something as in design harmony with the residents in the neighborhood as well.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And I apologize for review because I'm not asking you any questions. Give me just 1 second to see if I have anything for you, or I'll let you sit down. Or actually, let me open up. Commissioner Rios, you had a question for the...
Well, it's real quick, it's for staff. I'm just looking through this. It's a garage question. Okay. When I look at this drawing, it's got a 25-foot width, but that includes the breezeway area. What is the width of the garage space itself? And my follow-up's going to be what's the minimum width on a garage?
So, at the moment, I'm not seeing the exact, but it does meet the requirement of 18 by 20, and it does meet those interior dimensions setbacks, if that's what you're asking. It does meet the requirement of setbacks.
What is the minimum width on a garage?
18 by 20.
Okay, and so you're saying that's at least 18 feet there?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
What is the width of the garage door? And how many cars will be able to be parked in this trapezoid-shaped garage?
Depends on the size of the car.
So, if I may, so for R1 standards, it's supposed to fit at least 2 vehicles with the minimum dimension requirements. As for the size of garage door, as mentioned, as long as the garage was 18 by 20, which it does, it is following the R1 standards. So it is still following the R1 standards as well as, R1 standards, excuse me.
Commissioner Turner, to add to that, the minimum dimension for a 2-car garage, the open is 15.6. That's a minimum required. So just eyeballing the schematic here, it appears to meet that dimension, and those dimensions would be identified on the building plan check.
So do we have the width of the hallway? Because you're getting really tight on that width.
Commission term dimensions also not called out, but again, it would be identified in time of plan check, and in this case would meet building code requirements for access to the ADU.
Um, 18 by 20, so the garage is 360 square foot.
That's the required.
Real quick, I'm going to ask, you guys are going to let you know, you can take a seat right here in the front. I apologize for making you stand there so long while we ask staff questions. But Commissioner Riggs.
That was my question.
I'm sorry, I think I missed the question.
Garage is 360 square foot.
That's in the requirements. We're talking about 18 by 20, that's minimum requirements.
Commissioner Turner.
So just in terms of the aesthetics that Leo was speaking of, can we put a stipulation in here that it needs to match the existing residence? With paint, gutters?
I would say that's fair.
Yes, you could add a condition to that effect.
I'd like to propose that we add some conditions to the aesthetic design of this garage. That the windows on the garage match the existing conditions of the residence. That the slope of the roof be in the same aesthetic of the existing house for the garage. That the garage door be of similar materials to the existing residence. That the door access points for the pedestrian doors be in kind with the existing to remain doors on the house.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last one, please?
That the pedestrian doors, there are two, one in the rear and one on the side, be in accordance with the design of the existing to remain home. So that would mean that the rendered glass and whatever slatted garage door that is would not be in accordance, in this rendering, would not be in accordance with the design of the existing house. That the skinny, tall, vertical window in front of the garage would not be in accordance with anything on the existing to remain residence.
Chair, Commissioners, if I may, there's a difference between doing aesthetics and now redesigning the garage.
I'm not redesigning anything, I'm just looking at the aesthetics.
We can just do a general saying that the aesthetics of the garage must meet the same as the house itself.
And may I ask how that's enforced?
It will be enforced when the planners do the final approval. It will be a condition in the conditions of approval.
And I would just like to state that, of course, I trust that building and safety will do this, but that the fire, life safety, and access points, and sprinklers, and everything that are required at a certain point are very much in compliance with current. As it pertains to said trapezoidal garage.
So Chair, is this a motion?
This is not a motion yet. We're not even, we haven't closed the public hearing yet.
Okay.
So you,
I think that's all I got.
all right, we'll come back.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may add for Commissioner Turner, related to your condition proposed for the aesthetics of the garage, I'd maybe suggest a recommendation would be to add to the satisfaction of the community development director. That would allow staff to continue working with the applicant to verify and ensure that the design is compatible with the primary dwelling without having to return to a decision-making body such as the planning commission.
To the standards of the community development director.
Thank you.
Commissioner Riggs.
There was some talk earlier about something about the hillside overlay, the aesthetics of it, neighbors and stuff. Do we have an architectural hillside overlay architectural committee or anything like that? We don't. Do we have anything like that? Code or
No, we do
like
not.
we do in the historic preservation area?
No.
Had to ask that. It was one shot.
Commissioner Rittenhouse.
Final question on the garage. You said that the minimum dimensions are 18 by 20. You're absolutely sure that the 18 is the width and not the length?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if you guys want to look it up.
Yeah, 18 by 20 is correct.
18 width, all right.
Okay. I have a question then, and it's about the roof height, because I know we're talking about a garage without a roof. So, and this is sort of a unique issue, and it, you know, it's clear what's going on, but we're being asked to approve this minor hillside exemption for a roof, or for a garage without a roof. How do we define the height of what this hypothetical roof is if it's not, and if it doesn't exist?
So per the plans, it shows that the garage looks to be about 10 foot. So it would be, if it goes past the elevation showed on the plans, then it would be in violation of what's shown on the plan as well as approved MHE. So let's say
Can
if
you
it
tell
goes.
us which part of the plans you're seeing that? Which sheet?
To make sure this helps, make sure to show, it seems on 8.3.0, it shows the height of garage and then all in full height in general. So if you see that the garage is above the height of 10 and then it's like half inch, then it would not follow what's on the plans, therefore it would need to be redesigned to follow those heights. So it looks to be 10 foot, just over 10 foot.
So, but there's no plan for the roof. There's no roof plan. And typically when you're submitting a new structure, it has a floor plan and an exterior elevation and a roof plan.
So for the minor hillside exemption process, this process is to basically approve what is a 694 square foot garage, and it allows residents to, or excuse me, surrounding neighbors to, take a look at it if they have correspondence or want to look at the plans. When it comes to the actual plan check, that is done after. So this is just
I'm not asking for a plan check. There's just, like we said, there's no roof plan submitted for this garage.
I don't know how
How do I approve a structure that doesn't have a roof plan for it?
To elaborate on Commissioner Turner's question, if we're being asked to evaluate light, view, air, privacy, and look and feel, and I don't know how we're expected to do that if we don't know what it's going to look like, or
For Chairperson Chairperson Commissioner Turner. I'll answer Commissioner Turner's question earlier about the roof plan. Because the scope of work shows a garage at the first floor level and a 2-story ADU on top of, a roof plan was not required because, again, the ADU is not subject to discretionary review. At the time of plan check, our partners in Building and Safety Division will ask for that roof plan and the structural calculations as well. And then with the structurals and the sections that will be provided in the building plan check, staff at planning level will be able to verify that the dimension called out for 10 feet and ½ inch on elevation 1, south view of sheet A3.0, the ceiling joists do not exceed a height of 10 feet. And therefore, that would be the delineation or the separation between the garage that is being considered this evening and the 2-story ADU that's being considered ministerially at the time of plan check. That's how we would verify. But a roof plan is not required for the scope of work that's being considered this evening. It's just a garage with an ADU on top. And unfortunately, because of state law, as Chair Carson has elaborated on, our hands are tied. We cannot review that.
So can I ask that, and we've been talking about the aesthetics, right? And the city of Torrance requires that one gets a permit to replace doors and windows on the structure, right? So how would it be handled once this is done to match the existing conditions of the house that's to remain, that have true divided light, wood windows, that are not what's rendered? How does that get handled?
So can you share during the plan check process, what are you reviewing to verify that the conditions of approval are being met?
So during the plan check, so we've had to verify that not only does it not it follows our R1 standards, we also verify that it does match what is presented to us. Basically, the whole imaging process is for the garage and is for the pool of this 694 square foot garage. And
so at the time of plan check, planning assistant Lahan would review the building plans to ensure that the condition approvals that are being proposed this evening, if adopted with a resolution, are being met. One example of that would be, to your point, Commissioner Turner, wood frame windows. If the new garage is metal frame windows or vinyl windows, we will ask for those details to be identified on the building elevations and a window schedule as well to show what is the existing dwelling and to show that it matches the proposed. If we see that, hey, one side is vinyl and the other side is metal, then we're going to make that as a correction on the plan check and have a conversation with the architect as well.
Great. And one of the conditions was that the roof line be in kind with the existing residence and the materiality of the roof be in kind with the existing to remain single story.
Commissioner, so yes, when this comes into plan check and we're reviewing it, the structure for the ADU, there are design and compatibilities that they have to comply with the rest of the house, so they must match and be compatible with that. So at that time, when we're reviewing the ADU, we will be looking for that.
I'm going to lie. Oh, was there? I don't want to stop.
Mr. Ramirez said to correct you to say the garage, not the ADU, since we all keep, flippantly saying what was actually happening here.
I need to make one comment first, and I just want to, our staff doesn't need to be defended, but I do want to speak on behalf, or speak for our staff, and we have a fantastic staff here in the city of Torrance, and I just want to be clear that their hands are tied by state law as much as ours are, and this may sound a little bit like an adversarial sort of conversation or discussion that we're having here, but that is not what's happening. I just want to be clear that our staff is fantastic, and I understand the situation that you guys are in, just like the situation that we are in. So I have a problem here, and I think Commissioner Turner has made some really good arguments. My concern is, and this is, when you get to loopholes like this, it gets really difficult. And here's the problem. We're being asked to not acknowledge or consider an ADU. However, we're also being asked to give special consideration to our applicant because they want to put it in ADU. And this is, we're being told to do two things, because if this project came to us as a minor hillside exemption appeal, and we were told, oh no, there's not going to be a roof on this, or it's going to be a flat roof, or, any sort of those things, we would say, you're out of your mind. This doesn't make any sense. And then we're being told, oh, well, you're right, but you have to ignore that because it's an ADU. But you can't consider the ADU. It makes it very difficult for us to figure out what we're doing. And I'm going to, for those in the audience, City Council is the one that makes the decisions about how the hillside overlay works and its current position. If you want this to be reevaluated by this body or by the council or by our staff, that direction needs to come from the City Council. So please make sure that you let them know that you would like the hillside overlay reevaluated. If you stick around, you may hear me asking for concurrence for me to be able to go and speak to them on behalf of this body. But this is very, very tricky. I have some more thoughts, but Commissioner Turner.
I think that for me, it's, we're being asked to approve a garage, again, a garage that doesn't have a roof. It's not an attached garage if there's not a continuation of the existing to remain structure. I don't have enough information to approve it, and I also would like to request the articles that were stated from state law from one of the neighboring residents, because I did not have a pen in front of me to write quickly enough what those articles were in regards to state law and how ADUs are to be reviewed.
Can I maybe help with that? Because I wrote it down I was trying to write it as quickly as the person was speaking. It was in regards, and that was one of my questions, the staff would address it, but it was permit segmenting, and it was 66321B4. I don't know if we know what that was, and if we could address that.
Could that be pulled up by planning?
Chair Cortez, can you repeat that once again?
66321B4. And it was in regards to permit segmenting.
That one is just for the height.
I apologize. I'm just going to have to say we can't. Thank you.
Chair Cortez, so the code section reference 66321B4, as the member of the public or the audience referred to, it is related to the building height limitation, not the sequency or separate submittals or concurrent submittals.
Okay. So I think having read the supplemental, what the argument was that this should have been considered as one project. However, the difficulty that staff is in, where staff's hands are tied, or that the other part of this project has not been presented. Basically, the ADU is not something that's being about. Which makes it difficult for you guys, but I think it also makes it difficult for us, because I don't know how we're expected to approve half a project. I understand that we can't take into consideration that half of the project, but if we're taking into consideration this project, then my response is that this is half a project.
Correct.
If that makes sense. I know it's
an open air parking stall at this point. There's 5 cars that maybe you could squeeze 2 of those in there to be a good neighbor.
I'm not trying to be difficult.
I apologize for my sarcasm.
I probably am being difficult, but I'm not trying to be difficult. I just am trying to wrap my head around this, and this is no question about it, a loophole, and we're being told that we're the people that need to figure out how this resolves, but
I'd like to request that staff add a, what's it called? That's what I'm looking for. A requirement that the permit segregation be addressed as part of one of the reviews by planning.
That's a condition?
As a condition, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Commissioner Turner, I'm so sorry, Planning Manager Garcia and I were discussing the comment. Can you reiterate your condition you proposed?
I'd like the condition of the permit segregation to be addressed as part of this
Is
review.
it permit segmentation?
Segmentation, thank you.
We can't address that because it's separate. We can't consider the ADU as part of the garage MHE.
I understand that. How do we approve height, air, quality, view without a roof on the building?
You can put a height on the building and they would make them, if they don't go through with ADU, they could say the height of the building is 10 foot or whatever you want to have the height of the building be.
So my question is, do they have to complete this building? Since we put a condition of the roof lines matching the existing to remain?
Well, that becomes a problem with the ADU, right? So if you put a peaked roof and the ADU is going to go
Well, there's
on
no
top of it.
ADU, remember?
I understand that, but I'm saying that's the problem, right? And I know the commission's frustrated. I know staff is frustrated, but the fight's not with us, it's with Sacramento. And if you deal with the ADU tonight, it's just going to get appealed to the city council, and it's going to get overturned. And if the council were to do that, we get sued and we lose. So I know it's frustrating. We're frustrated, all staff's frustrated, but they're two separate projects. And unfortunately, one is discretionary, which is in front of you, which is the garage, and the other one is ministerial, which is the ADU.
And Commissioner Turner, to go back to your proposed condition related to architectural features, exterior finishes, I think you had included there a statement or line related to the roof line, that it should match the primary dwelling. In this case, because the garage itself does not have a roof, because there's an addition on top of that, that's the ADU that cannot be considered by this body. The plans in the elevation do delineate, again, as I highlighted earlier, the 10-foot mark as where the ceiling joist would be for the garage. That would be the limit to the extent that the planning commission can review the project. And then from there on, anything above is the accessory dwelling unit. So my suggestion and plea would be to please remove that specific portion of your condition that has a roof line matching the roof line of the primary dwelling, just because staff and the applicant would have a tough time meeting that condition.
I'd like to request that the roof line that is on the brow continuing to the main house and above the garage door match.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Commissioner Riggs.
Me? Wow. I guess I got a lot to say, but I got notes here for 2 pages. And, you know, in the beginning I started getting angry, and it was hard to compose myself.
Sorry, Commissioner, I don't want to cut you off yet. We are still in the public hearing on this. If we're going to discuss.
Okay.
I just want to make sure if you're.
No, I was going to go over a couple questions.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we all knew where we were. Thank you.
Let Mr. Borgiati, Commissioner Borgiati.
Commissioner Borgiati.
So I'm going back to a number of years now, I think I understand what mutually exclusive means. We've got 2 projects here that one needs the other. Mutual but exclusive, right? My thought process is this. We're here to approve, not here to approve the ADU or its timeline, but we're here to approve a garage that is considered to be an enabler to the client's next steps, the applicant's next steps, which we don't know and we don't have, if it's an ADU, a whole lot to say. So my thought process is this, listening to Commissioner Turner speak. Is there a need to close the public hearing, then decide if the process for approving the garage requires more information that should then come back to the commission for its approval. Recognizing, however, that we're here tonight to either approve or deny the appellant's request. Is there something to be said about us returning back to see the full plans for the garage?
I think that, and staff can weigh in on this, I think it would be after we finish questions and close the public hearing, that would be one of the potential options that we could discuss. And I think it would be a continuance is essentially what you're asking about.
More information needed equals continuance there.
And I think that could be, I think it's one of the potential options you could ask for, but I think that, is there a shot clock when it relates to MHEs?
No, we don't have a shot clock related to the MHE.
Okay. Okay, so potentially that is something that could be discussed. I know, Commissioner Riggs, do you have questions or did you have discussion? Specifically, questions for the applicant or, because we can ask questions of staff after we close it. I do have a question for the applicant real quick. If I could just ask, and I probably could find it right in here, but if you know off the top of your head, the height, the current height of the garage is right now. I know that we're being told that the new height will be 12 and a half feet. But do you know the current height?
Commissioner, so I believe the height of the garage should be the same height as the existing residence.
Okay.
It is a very small structure, so the height does not need to be that height. And the architecture itself was built during the period where the roof height was not a necessity.
Okay. Let's make sure I got everything. Okay, thank you. And a question for the appellants. And I understand you may have a lot that you want to say, but I'm going to ask you to try to just answer the question. Regarding the garage, do you feel you have evidence that it would impede your view, light, air, privacy, or the cohesive nature of the neighborhood?
Yes.
Yes, I'm right next door to it, every window, and it would be coming closer to my bedroom window. Yeah.
So you're concerned about the privacy impact, is what you're saying, because of the window?
Privacy, air, everything that you said, yes, and it's coming closer to my property as well.
Okay, and I just want to be clear, you were specifically talking about the garage.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
extending out towards your property.
Very close to our property.
Okay. You can have a seat. Thank you. Commissioner Riggs, you said no, sorry. Okay. I just still have you up there for other stuff. Speak now or forever hold your peace for the applicant and appellants. Commissioner Gay, with you. Okay, you want to take a...
I move to close the public hearing.
All right. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close public.
Oh, we have a motion.
Okay, second.
All right, there we go. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Addison,
Yes.
Commissioner Borgiali,
Yes.
Commissioner Obajas,
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Yeh,
Yes.
Chair Carsonis.
Yes. Okay, so we have just closed the public hearing. We are being asked to take a quick restroom break. We've been going at it for a while now. It is 9:04. Let's come back in 5 minutes, so 9:06.
9:10.
Oh, wait, sorry. It is late. It is late, everybody. My math. Forgive my math. 9:09. Let's do it. Sorry.
That'll be affordable. Nice, something
This late? It's not late, come on.
They're retired, remember?
I said we go for another 2 hours. More questions, more questions,
Let's open the bubble.
more questions. Wow. Is this you? No, this is you. Is this how you do your nose?
Oh, you think that's
No way. Really? Like that? I couldn't read that.
Full house back there. No, thank you, because I think everyone has that idea. Do you think of our
I don't think we expect to be here.
Everyone raised their hand at the table, but we like, they're usually listening. And I'm playing it, and like, they're all like, oh.
Can we go to concerts?
Yeah, there's a lot.
I know, right? That's it,
That's fine, I agree. I've been getting swarms of people are
Sorry. No, the applicant is not wanting to do it. They wanted to see it. They do it up front. So they have to move forward. So that recommendation is like next up.
That's Sean.
They have to also agree to it. They could say, no, I wanted to see this stuff. And you guys can do it.
You're down here. You're down here.
They're not going to provide us with that. So I would hate for that just to be a...
I'm going straight to the top.
Our floor is extra warm. There's no air
Okay.
I think I would turn way more.
Sorry, was that your way? You did?
The chair.
Oh, think so? Probably didn't get the sorry.
Yes, no.
Oh, so much.
Having built it.
Take a 5-minute break.
Right, we've overstayed our.
I told him to go home and I'd take you home. You know what he said? I love watching it on I love watching my wife show. She's the best officer that I've ever seen. That's why I'm married. Seriously? I met her like 40 years ago. When I had my own mortgage company.
All right, everybody. Apologies for going slightly over. We have limited facilities in the back for 7 people. So we went as quickly as we could. We all know that I don't think any of us want to take the risk of being here. But I'm going to call us back to order at 9:14. Staff, can you please call the roll?
Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Commissioner Borjali?
Here.
Commissioner Bejas?
Here.
Commissioner Riggs?
Here.
Commissioner Turner?
Here.
Commissioner Ye?
Here.
Chair Carsonis?
Here.
Chair, all members are present.
All right, thank you. We were at, I think, Commissioner Briggs. You had some questions, comments?
No. Are we ready?
The public hearing is closed, so we are in the ask questions of staff and make comment section.
Is Is there anybody else I can defer it to?
No.
I'm up.
Take your shot.
Take my shot. Wow. Like I was beginning to say, I really want to concur with my fellow commissioners of what they had to say. And at first it was all, getting a little angry up here and understanding, I've said it many, many times, that this is a tough position we're in. Some are going to get angry at us and some maybe not. And I have a hillside overlay myself too. So it's very, very important to me. Just earlier today, or yesterday, I was explaining to a friend of mine that, the decisions we make up here is not like city council, but we still, people, it affects their lives. And it's tough for us to make the right decision and look through the weeds. I wanted to go through this a little, I had all these things. I mean, I've written 3 pages on this here. One of the things I wanted to also ask is, and I'll just bring that up, but didn't we bring something up about, and I don't want to be petty here or anything, but we just got a code also about roofs having tarps on them and fences and stuff. But no, it didn't pass. Okay. I want to talk about visuals, compatibility, view, air, light. We've talked about that. We've talked about impact to the surroundings and neighbors. I asked about did we have some kind of architectural overlay? We're not setting a precedence tonight because the precedence has already been set. Sacramento has spoken. And, but I just can't get over the fact that this project is not going to be finished for us to make that type of decision tonight. I don't want to continue this. I think that we need to make a decision tonight. This is not about our personal opinion. This is when we were brought on to do this by city council, is to protect our city, first and foremost, against who you vote in there as your city council people. And but I also think we have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens, to the residents of this city, as a commission here, to have a voice to the council. And I'm having a hard time getting past some of these questions that are unanswered. And it has nothing to do with our staff. And like Chera said, I'm in real estate and building, and I've worked with a lot of cities. This, by hands down, is the best city to work with. I ran a campaign for myself years ago, and one of the things I said is I wanted to be a friendly city to do business with, and we are. But I don't want to get into this and how it looks and how it feels and how it smells. I just, tonight, guys, I can't, in good conscience, ever do anything that's left open. Unknown. It's not fair to the residents of the city, and I'm going to vote with everything that's been brought forth to me, and it really hurts me that with my anger, but I got to put that aside. So I'll pass the buck on here, and I had a lot more to say, but I cut it short. I just don't want to. I think that people can know where I'm going with this.
Commissioner Burgess.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I hold this in my mind as a couple options for us, and I'm going to try to work through these. First of all, I'm looking at these drawings, and this is about a garage tonight, and yet I'm seeing a second story on this garage. I don't know why it's there in the first place. I don't like seeing it there. This ADU is not for us to decide this evening. It's all about the garage. I would like to have seen these plans with a roof line and everything, so we don't have a lot of information available to us to make a decision. Option one, we can move with a continuance. Ask the architect, get the plans right. It's about a garage. Show us a garage, show us what you're planning to do, and we'll approve it or disapprove it. Or the second option is, we vote, and we vote, I'm assuming we vote in favor of the appellant to push the group over here, the applicant, back to adjusting their plans. So it's either continuance, adjust your plans, please, or we vote with the appellant to make these folks go and adjust their plans. So that's how I'm viewing this right now. But I don't like the information that we have in front of us. I believe it muddies the water. It makes this a difficult set of circumstances for us to place a judgment on. Thank you, Chair.
Yep. I definitely have some thoughts and comments. Commissioner Ovejas, please.
I guess I have some questions for the city attorney to help me out here. In an alternate universe, I'd get a complete plan, precise plan for a first floor dwelling that added, that changed their garage. It would have a roof line on it. And they could anticipate having an ADU on top of it, later. But it would be a complete plan. I don't believe I have a complete plan here for if it's just the garage I'm supposed to consider. Would you agree with me that I don't have a complete plan for a garage?
You're not talking to a planner, so I'm not a plan guy, so that's probably not the right guy to ask that question to. But the other issue that we could run into, though, is if you require a peaked roof, then that condition gets approved, and then when the ADU comes, they're going to violate that condition, right? So that's the other problem that we would have if the commission were to approve some sort of design element to the roof or a height of the roof. Then when the ADU comes, they're going to change that because obviously they're not going to put an ADU on top of a peaked roof.
Right. I guess in my preferred world, I would have the builder come back with a plan that anticipates an ADU on top of it, but it's complete, it's standalone, it's independent, and that I can vote for. That's not what I'm getting here. There would be no requirement for a peaked roof. As far as I know, they can, okay, let me check my assumptions. There's still allowed to build flat roofs here, aren't we?
Correct, but the other commissioners were talking about matching the existing roof line, so that would not...
I understand. I may be able to persuade my other commissioners to change that. I'm just saying it'd be a lot cleaner, echoing Commissioner Borgielli's comment that it's just not... If we're asked to look at a garage, then show me a freaking garage. And that's not what I'm seeing. If I had a garage here with a flat roof, there'd be no issue. Whoever else wants to do.
Yeah, I'll go along with that and just ask, we talked about peak roofs and we talked about roof line and height and stuff. I believe that is within our purview when we're discussing something with some level of subjectivity. I believe that is within our purview. I have a question. I don't know if this is for engineering. I know you haven't had a chance to speak to us all night, so I don't want you to feel left out. Or building and safety, and this is really just more of a process question. If somebody were to build a second story on their house, and they would need to reinforce the room below it, so you're going to build a new room below this second story because you have to for structural reasons. At what point do we determine if that's satisfactory? Is that the plan check point?
Regardless of building and safety, yes, that would be during the plan check. We would require structural framing plans and calculations in addition to other fire life safety requirements.
Got it. Okay. So that's clearly what's happening. Got it. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you a question. I tried my best.
I appreciate it. Next time.
Yeah. Fire, what do you have to say? Sorry.
We've done it for years, Doc. I mean, at least they're trying to ask.
Okay. I think I've really made it sort of clear how I feel. I think we're being... This is almost certainly going to be appealed to City Council. And really the interesting thing tonight is we're going to make the decision about who has to appeal it. Somebody had mentioned that this violates the core tenets of the hillside overlay, and I gotta agree. It really feels like it does, because it's clear that this is sort of, it's creative because it's different than the last loophole that we saw, but it's clearly an out around our municipal code. And I still stick with what I said earlier, that it feels like we're being asked to not consider this ADU, even though everything that we've been shown and our narrative and everything has the ADU listed in it. We're being asked not to consider the ADU, but then we're being asked to give special consideration and not do things that we would normally do for a minor hillside exemption because of this ADU that we can't consider. And it's just, we have this weird feedback loop that is making it feels to me like it is making it impossible to move forward with approving this. But Commissioner Riggs, I think you have some more comments.
Yeah, I just want to get off the fact that we're talking about the ADU. To me, this has nothing to do with the ADU. We don't have enough information here to move on to approve this tonight. That's it. We don't have it, and I think we owe this to the residents of this city. That's it. Bottom line.
Well, I'm gonna agree with you because I think, when we bring it back to what we can do and what we are supposed to be making this decision on, we're supposed to be making it on whether this impacts a neighbor's view, light, air, privacy, and we have residents complaining that this will impact their privacy. They are complaining that it will impact their light, air, and view. It's up to us to make the subjective determination of whether we believe what they have to say or we don't. The problem is, it's really sort of impossible for us to make that decision because we don't have any of the evidence. We don't have a full set of information. So with that, Commissioner O'Dowd, you got some comments.
Yes, I have a question for staff. So this project qualified for minor hillside exemption. If the home builder went back tomorrow and said, okay, fine, I'm just going to do this in 2 steps. I'll build the garage first and then deal with the other thing later, the thing that we're not supposed to talk about. So I believe it's my assumption that they would very likely continue to qualify for a minor hillside exemption as long as they're under 14 feet.
Yes. And it would be the development standards, but yes.
Yeah. All right. So I guess what I would like to craft is a solution that heads in that direction. So that means that we wouldn't require peaked roofs, etc. So I thought, maybe my fellow commissioners can help me, but that makes it cleaner for me. If you've got 2 projects, come back with 2 projects. And if that's what we're saying, right? There's 2 projects here, and one we're not supposed to yak about. So why don't we focus on the one that we can do something about and see that as a complete project?
I think we should see it as a complete project that complies with the existing to remain structure that has peaked roofs.
Okay. And
why are we designing for these?
No, fair enough. So just let me explore that. So if we went that way, it's okay. You've got your 1-story house with an expanded garage. Now you want to do something else in the future. You come back and do that other thing.
And can I just interject that does not address the concerns that the residents are saying this, as it is presented, impacts their privacy and their view and their air.
And I think, I mean, it'd be nice to see all those 130 people that signed something, but they're not here. But it seems like they are in spirit.
Okay, but you're asking me to accept that a one-story garage, which is minorly expanded, has those impacts that you're talking about. So that's a tough ask.
No, I'm not asking you to accept that. What I'm saying is there's no way for us to know because we're not being presented with that as a project. It's impossible for us to say yes or no because we don't have that information.
Fair enough. I guess.
So by default, generally when we don't have enough information to say yes, generally our default, my hope would be our default would be no. Especially when we're dealing with view, light, air, and privacy, with what we have here. It's not in absence of evidence they get approved. It's usually the evidence.
We have an we have an incomplete. It's not complete right now.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Commissioner Bass.
It's okay. We've got an evolving set of ideas, but I think we're gelling towards the same thing. Okay. So let's consider what our double negative voting would do in trying to get to one of those outcomes. I believe if I wanted to have not this thing that's in front of me, but something else in front of me, I would be approving the denial. Or
approving the appeal.
Thank you. Okay. Approving the appeal.
Sorry, I spoke wrong. Upholding the appeal.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's see what everybody else thinks.
If we uphold the appeal, we uphold the Community Development Director's approval of MHE 25, right?
No, if we uphold the appeal, that's basically denying what the Community Development Director said. That is denying.
If you just want to make it easier, you can just say, deny the project, approve the project, then you don't have to worry about the double negative.
Very good, thank you.
Makes it a lot easier.
Okay. So Chair, here's how I feel about this. We do not have the information in front of us that we need in order to be able to make a judgment on this garage. And we need to do one of two things. We either need to ask the applicant to go back to the drawing board and figure this thing out so that they can bring it back to us or to the community director and say, here, we got finished plans for this garage. I thought I heard, again, like Commissioner Obejas, 10.5 feet height and a little bit back. I have trouble with airlight view and privacy. The person mentioned privacy. It's going to be violated. And that needs to be vetted. So my thought process is one of two things. We're kind, continue it, but if we continue it, we're going to let people know that when you show up the next meeting, you can't talk. Right?
Continuances make it even more complicated than we already are. And I'm not sure there's appetite from the applicant or staff or maybe even the commission for that, just to be but just to clarify, and staff, you can let me know the process here is, if this is approved, then it can move forward or it can be appealed to City Council. If it's denied, it can be appealed to City Council. Or, correct me if I'm wrong, they can come back with a alternate set and reapply to the commission. Because if we appealed it, or if we denied it without prejudice.
That is correct. If you deny it without prejudice, the applicant can choose either to appeal or come back with a different project or some different iteration.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion.
Well, hold on, let me just make sure everybody got to say what they wanted to say. Yeah, Commissioner Hanson.
I think we've heard some very different arguments about how to dissect a project that has an ADU on it this evening, it's very creative and maybe might work better for us with what we have to deal with. Albeit, we don't have that presented to us this evening because staff really didn't take a look at it. Not their fault, but somewhere the creativity for that was lost in the process that they go through, the requirements that they have. So I don't see this as a failure, that it's something that we're telling everybody this is what you're going to run into if you try coming and doing this type of project. So that's my thoughts on it. I think it's a good thing for the people that are going through it. Regrettably, you probably don't look at it that way, but you haven't seen what we've been through with other projects. And I think if we went back to other projects looking this way, they may have come out differently. So that's my thoughts.
Commissioner Borgelli?
Thank you. So, again, we don't have enough information. I think that if we were to reject the project with prejudice, that's not a good thing, because be careful that other state laws for higher density on a lot could be applied. So, let's let the applicant, if we deny the project without prejudice, let them come back with some new garage plans that we can look at so that we can move the garage forward. The ADU is not in this room tonight. So my motion is...
Well, and just real quick to clarify, without prejudice, it could still be appealed outright. Right, just wanted to be...
That is correct.
Right.
So with thanks to the city attorney, I'd like to motion that we reject this project without prejudice and allow for the applicant to either appeal or do whatever they wish to do.
Now, I'm going to ask for a second.
Second.
Okay,
I do think the word was denied, but my pedantic point.
We have a question. I have a question for staff. And do you have what you need out of this conversation to come back with a resolution? Or do we need to elaborate on our reasoning? Because that is something that you guys are going to need. Okay, so Commissioner Borgelli, before we go to, if you'll permit me, before we go to a vote, we need to give staff the reasons for the denial, so that they can present us at our next meeting with a resolution of denial. So,
I would maybe direct the commission to the staff report in page 6, where the findings are. That can kind of give you some direction of what the staff is looking for, because that's what they were listing for approvals. If you look at D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, all the way down there.
Yeah,
so give you some direction of what kind of the staff's looking for.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I'll volunteer some offers, and you can let me know if this is what's going on in your mind with your motion. But finding E is the one that stands out especially to me, which is in regards to UI air and privacy. F. G, I think applies. H, I think probably applies. Probably even I. That's really in regards to whether we believe this has an impact on view, light, air, and privacy. And the orderly and attractive development in harmony with other properties.
So that'd be J as well, right? So E, F, G, H, I, J, we believe are not upheld if we were to approve this resolution or adopt this resolution. So we want to I'm sounding this out, help me please. We would motion to reject the project on the basis that items under the resolution 2026-002, specifically E, F, G, H, I, and J.
Just real quick, I think we can add K in there too, because I have not heard or seen any unreasonable hardship.
So we would move to reject the project, and therefore this resolution 2026-002, based on the notions that E, F, G, H, I, J, and K are not satisfied. Is that correct?
No, I think that will work for staff, but we'll have the vote, and then staff will take that and bring back a resolution for denial later.
Chair, can I ask a question? So, rejecting the project, or
The city attorney said we
holding
could just
it.
reject the project.
Just
Yeah,
instead of voting?
We're just trying to avoid the confusion of a double negative, so this is to reject the project versus to approve the project.
Yes.
So that is my motion, Chair, is to reject the project.
So we have a motion, we have a second. I think we gave you some our thoughts. Is
I
that clear
think
enough?
we have enough here where we can make some edits to the resolution for denial, essentially.
And then we'll get to see that resolution. We already have a second. We will get to see that resolution presumably at our next meeting, and then I guess everyone will have a say on whether you think that it satisfies what we said here today.
Is it important for us to say reject the project without prejudice? Is that?
I think that was part of the motion that I heard.
I did say that.
Yes.
I did say that, and I
Yes.
just want to make sure that that's the correct way
Yes.
to bring this forth.
Yes. So this motion is just hanging out on the table wherever and ever. Can we please have roll call?
Commissioner Anderson?
Who's your second?
Commissioner Borgioli?
Yes.
Commissioner Bejas?
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs?
Yeah.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ye?
Yes.
Chair Cartonis?
Yes.
The motion to reject the project without prejudice passes.
Okay, and let me just clarify, that was actually Commissioner Ye who seconded that, right?
That's
correct.
I'm sorry, I said it Obejas, but it's Commissioner Ye.
And then just for clarification for everyone present, the final decision doesn't happen until adoption of the resolution by the Planning Commission. That's when any appeal period would start running.
So it's 15 days from whenever we make a decision on the resolution, not from today.
Correct.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of 8B. We still have a little bit more to do tonight. As I mentioned, I have a concurrence I'm going to ask for in regards to a discussion I want to have about the hillside overlay with council. But first, we need to go to agenda item number 9, which is resolutions. Staff, do we have anything? I think we do.
We do not.
Okay, that gets us to commission oral communications. With that, I'm going to kick us off. We have seen in my mind, a severe uptick in loophole issues and hillside overlay out around to the point of my concern and all of our concern that the hillside overlay is on its last legs, or if not on its last legs, pretty close there. It was said to us before, it's the death of a 1,000 cuts, and we're at like 999 right now, so we're getting pretty close to that. I want to ask for concurrence from my fellow commissioners that I'm allowed to go and speak on behalf of this commission to the city council and request that they direct staff to bring back the hillside overlay workshop and discussion to this body.
Is that a motion?
That is a request for concurrence, so I'm going to ask for just a thumbs up, thumbs down. I do see Mr. Ramirez coming over here.
Chair, Commissioners, staff is already planning to bring back an update on the hillside overlay, so you don't need to ask for council to approve that. That's already something that the long-range planning is working on based on all the recent legislations that passed.
Can we have a deadline on that? Because we've been asking for this for about a year now.
No, because they are working on the updates. Legislation just passed again, so staff's currently working on those. So even if the council directed it, we still would not have a date of when we would be able to bring it, but we can try to do it within the next 6 months.
What's the harm in the concurrence? I know we're taking up.
Oh, there's no harm. I'm just letting you know that we're already doing it.
Wheels at this point, unfortunately. We're left with no other options but to concur.
No, and that's fine. I'm just letting you know it's not going to change the process.
Well, I concur.
Yeah, I was just going to say, all due respect, and there is a lot of respect for staff, and I know you guys are working as hard as you possibly can on all this stuff. But I still think squeaky wheel is a great way to put it. I think it's our duty, it's one of the duties of this commission to advise the city council on issues related to this, and this is a very, very big issue. I think we would be doing a disservice to not do this. So, do I have concur?
Yes.
Tony?
All right. 6-1. Do I have concurrence? All right. I'll confer with staff on the process for how to schedule that. Do I just go and
It's under orals. You just go under orals.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Commissioner Briggs, did you have a question?
No, I was.
Sorry.
I was gonna. I'll concur also. I think it's. I think that's a great idea, Chair, for you to go there. It's something's got to be brought forward to understand that it's not us. It's the state, and we're all residents of the city, and so, John, I was going to bring up the same thing where you said it was actually death by 1,000 cuts that's happening to our hillside overlay. So,
Vote accordingly.
All right, Commissioner Borgelli.
Thanks, Chair. So I think it was April of 2025 that we sat in the auditorium here and listened to the state of the state's laws that are being passed. And in October of this past year, Senate Bill 543 was passed by the House, the Senate, and written into law by the governor. And that's about ADUs and JADUs and objective standards. So my recommendation is this: familiarize yourself with 543, because if a garage is approved, 543 is law, and that's what we're up against. And my advice is, if you're a brand type of person, think about checks and balances in beautiful Sacramento. Checks and balances. Two parties need to have checks and balances. Enough of my lecturing.
Commissioner Game.
Thank you, Chair. So, staff, last year you guys prepared a summary for us for the year of 2024. Is it possible for you to prepare a summary for us for 2025 what we have done?
Commissioner, yes, that is forthcoming.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Reyes.
Along with Commissioner Borgelli, the whole notion of contacting your state representatives, etc. Well, Al voted against all this stuff in SB 9. It's not enough to just contact Al. At the last workshop, the lobbyists that we paid big bucks to made it clear that these bills are only passing because there's a bipartisan majority passing them. So I just urge you to do what I'm doing, which is not just contact my guy, but contact some of those other guys. Because it's their vote that's affecting me and you too. Okay? And in particular, rural area Republicans. Okay, that's enough.
I also just want to thank staff for the hard work. I know this was a big project, and there were a lot of moving parts to it, and we made it more complicated than it already was. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate all your work on this. I know you guys are working hard every day for us, so thank you for that. With that, Commissioner Turner.
I agree with that. Thank you, guys. And again, apologies for some of my sarcasm, but I move to adjourn the meeting at 9:50 for January 21st, 2026.
Can we just clarify that we will be reconvening on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
All right. That was you, Commissioner Borjali, the second?
Sir.
Yes, it was. All right, roll call.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Borgiali,
Yes.
Commissioner Obejas,
Yes.
Commissioner Riggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Yee,
Yes.
Chair Gartsonis.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0, meeting is adjourned.
All right, keep going.